heart is yearning wherever you wanna go. I'm gonna walk by your side for everything I'm worth. And if the journey makes you stumble or the road is far too long, then backwards we will wander. I will never turn around, 'cause I know everything you said, everything you've done, whatever you want, whatever you need, rely on me.
Yeah. All right.
Bringing back your DJ times.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Recruiter Podcast. My name is Craig Lockard, your host and the youngest man in the car business. And with me today is Mr. Anthony Santangelo, Automax recruiter, trainer, author, man of dual residency, known everywhere. Also the host of the amazing, popular Did You Hire Him Dead or Kill Him After You Got Him? That's my copyright. He hosted his show, but my copyright. Good morning, Mr. Santangelo.
Good morning, Craig.
How are you, sir?
I'm good.
How do you like the new equipment? Top notch,
It's
right?
very nice.
Pretty cool.
Yes.
Listen, everybody, I wanted to check with you all on something. So here's a short story here. We had hooked up with a guy by the name of Jan, Jon Magnusson, Magnusson. He's a real good, he's a cool follow on Twitter. He's a recording artist from Stockholm, Sweden. Awesome guy, very talented guy. Has his own podcast called Always a Rebel. So we were licensed to be able to use his music, and specifically that song, Always a Rebel, and we ran it for, I don't know, 2 months. Then, a very long story short, some other recording studios, the music business is, you think the car business gets a little wacky sometimes, the music business is freaking horrible. But at any rate, they put a copyright on it with YouTube. So when that happens, you get demonetized, for one, which is bad. Actually, more importantly, what happens is, if you guys know, when you watch a video and the video's over with, then other videos will pop up. What's it say? Something like other videos you might be interested in or something. But it serves you up other videos based on the video you just watched. Mm-hmm. Well, they don't tell you this, but that's what was happening. So then, and that's where most of the a lot of the big time views come from, is from the other suggested videos. Mm-hmm. They eliminated that when they put the copyright on it. And Adam, the millionaire producer from All Systems Go AV. Good morning, Adam, on the other side of the glass.
Good morning, gentlemen.
How are you, dude?
Fantastic.
Good. And I want to get back to you here in a minute. But so I reached out to Jan and told him, and that kind of freaked him out. And he was pretty pissed off about it. So he checked into it, and Adam, of course, Adam, millionaire producer from All Systems Go AV, wrote to YouTube to say, hey, look, here we have the signed off agreement or authorization from the recording artist to be able to license his music. Long story short, on I don't know, Adam, what was it? Maybe Monday or the end of last week or whatever. So Jan had sent us another song, which you just heard. I don't even know. God, do you know the name of that song he sent us that were played the last week?
It's called Rely on Me.
Rely on Me, that's right. Rely on Me.
We used it the first time on the episode Tuesday,
right. And I think that either that day or the day before, they dropped the copyright thing. So my question to our loyal listeners and viewers is a couple things. First, which song do you like best? Do you like Always a Rebel or this new one? This new one kind of starts out like it sounds like an old surf music movie, but then it gets...
Like Gidget, right?
Right, yeah. But then it gets into like... it's kind of... now I'm going to get blasted on this, man, because even though I'm chronologically old, like I said, I am the youngest man in the car business, but it sounds to me, it sounds a little bit like, what's that music called with Iggy Stooge and all that? What's that called? Punk rock. When he starts singing, to me, it sounds a little bit of punk. But I don't know. I kind of like it, but I'm torn. I really don't know which intro music I like the best. So if you guys want to give us your opinion on that would be awesome. Speaking about our awesome listeners, something that happened yesterday, and it's happened 4 times. And Anthony, I think, I know that you've experienced this, but over the last week, 10 days, I think it's been 6 people have reached out to me that don't show up on the stream, don't comment, but hey, big fan of the podcast, love it. I had a guy yesterday, a gentleman from Missouri. His name's Mark Easter. Are you friends with Mark on Facebook? Does that ring a bell with you?
Doesn't ring a bell.
Been in the car business 30-some years, works at a Chrysler Plymouth store forever.
A Chrysler Plymouth store?
Yeah. What did I say? Oh, Chrysler Plymouth, yeah. Chrysler. Youngest man in the car industry. Yeah. All right, so, yeah, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, whatever.
Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram is
yeah,
the
one
new
of those.
Chrysler Plymouth Dodge of the 1970s.
Yeah, they did away with I don't know why they did with Plymouth.
That's all right. I was when I was interviewing at car dealerships in '97. The car I was borrowing at the time was an '87 Plymouth Reliant.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
So
those
to add to your Plymouth there.
They were horrible cars.
Yes, they were. The
They
K
were,
car, right?
Right. They that was daughter Erica's first car. I bought her.
Oh, no kidding.
Reliant. Yeah, it was good for her though. And Joe's first car, I think, was a Dodge Caravel. That we bought him from a Chevy store that I ran briefly in Akron, Ohio. John Whittaker was the GM there, who's been a client of ours for literally 20 years. He's now the owner of Youngblood Automotive in Springfield, Missouri.
Yep.
But at any rate, Mark Easter, shout out to Mark, reached out and expressed his, he gets on the treadmill and listens to these shows 30 minutes at a pop, which is really the only way to do this. Well, I don't know. I sit down and I watch a 3-hour podcast. I'll watch Rogan or one of these long-form podcasts, but I want to be better at it. So
Keeping it in the background. Nothing wrong with keeping it in the background if you're
Right.
working from home,
Right.
and hitting the share button's always nice
But
too.
it's like it's like how to eat an elephant one bite at a time, and that's the way to kind of listen to this podcast. I think is to do it 30, 40 minutes at a shot, and because here's the weird thing, and I think I talked about it on Tuesday a little bit. The average time, and I'm going to get these, I'm going to be off on these numbers a little bit, but the point is the average amount of viewer time on a YouTube video is 5 minutes and some change. I think it's 5 minutes, 36 seconds. We are at, on this show, like 28 minutes and some change.
That's awesome.
Which is a ridiculous amount of time. I don't know, though, if that it represents multiple viewers watching in 28-minute increments, or it's somebody listens to 28 minutes and and then blows. I'm not sure. No way to tell that, frankly. But
I think people they hop on and off at times. They get a phone call or something like that. And so we got the votes coming in here on Facebook. A lot of people are voting for the Rebel.
Really?
Including some people that are rebels are voting for rebels.
Yeah, you rebels
as well.
It's a rebel audience, man.
With
guys are rebels.
Yeah, it is, definitely rebel audience, and a couple rebels in the studio today too.
Yeah.
On top of it.
Hey, on the show, and Dixie's here with us. Dixie Dew,
who's sitting next to me, not you.
Yeah,
she was.
Yeah, she knows I got the treats. Yeah. So Dixie the Wonder Dog's here, my beautiful hound dog, and my very best friend. One of my very best friends. Yes, you're a pretty girl. So, but my point of this, it's weird when you do podcasts like this, and I know you get more feedback probably than I do, and it goes back to, and I'm sure you'll remember this, and I'm surprised you haven't given me a na you were wrong, Craig thing. But remember when I was all over your case about having every just salesman loading up your friends list on Facebook, and we had that conversation
many times. Yes.
Yeah, I was
Starts with a W.
Wrong. I was incorrect in saying that to the point of you've created an audience with inexperienced salespeople, experienced salespeople, a lot of salespeople. Now, that's obviously not people that we can, quote unquote, sell our recruiting and training services
Not decision
to.
makers, right?
However, it's a great audience, and they can learn from your show, my show, all the other shows, and I'm going to touch on that. I think at some point during the podcast, say about reciprocation in the podcast world and the automobile industry. I think
That's
we're
a
gonna,
good topic.
Yeah, I think we're going to touch on
like
that a
that
little bit
topic,
today, without trying to hurt anybody's feeling or calling anybody out specifically.
Well, you know our roles here. We let it rip, and there's no holds barred. So.
Typically, but I want to, I want to be a little careful on that. But my point is this: that, and I haven't told you this, but I started accepting salespeople.
I've noticed.
Yeah, and because of the same reason, and it really hit me yesterday how right you were and how incorrect I may have been. Because here's a 30-year car guy, and he DM'd me. He said, "Look, if you get time, can I take 5 minutes of your time, man? I'm having a tough 90 days." And I've been in the car business 48 years. Blessed to be able to have established and have a hand in running a pretty good sized company. We've been blessed to be successful, good revenue, blah, blah, blah. And there's, just being completely transparent, there's times where it's like, man, I don't have time for this. Really? I got to reach out to one guy and, I've been up at 6 o'clock this morning working, and it's like, this is the last thing. And then Michelle McLean will be able to relate to this. I did a podcast, a month ago or so, and part of it was called Rising Tides. Rising tides raise all ships. There's a correlation between if I can help you, we together can help others.
Yeah.
Rising tides raise all ships.
Yeah.
So I put my ego aside, which I don't have much of one. I know guys have a lot larger egos. When I say I'm the youngest man in the car industry, those are jokes. But I took the time and I gave him some ideas. I mean, here's a 30-year car guy at the same place. Guy should be, making fat stacks, right?
Yeah.
He's not. So I gave him some ideas, and he was very appreciative. And my point is that we don't know the reach that we have. A guy like you, a guy like me. Between the two of us, I mean, we're reaching, I don't know, 10,000 people a week, man. I mean, it's like Tuesday's podcast with Kobe Fryer and Jay Lamore is, 6,000 views. It's like, so, I mean, the audience, we have a responsibility to the people that we're watching to try to help them as much as we can. Entertain, but also give them content, valuable information that they can actually use. It's not bullshit, and it's not just making it up as we go along here. Although in saying that, as human beings, I don't have any idea what's going to come out of my mouth next. Really, while you're talking, it's like, you're just talking.
Well, it happens, and once you get past a certain age, and it's even more.
F you.
But but I think the most important thing you can give to someone is your time.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's why my hashtag for 2020 has been #time and trust, to earn the time and gain the trust of everyone in my life, both inside and outside the walls of the dealership. And when it comes to people, salespeople, or even in my personal life, it's important that people know my time is theirs.
Yeah.
And
you make that real evident. I mean, that's part of your That's part of your branding, frankly.
It is, and it's important to do that because it's not. You give somebody your time, even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I know for me, when somebody agrees to give me their time, and I hold that person in a very high regard, if they mean a little bit to me, or they mean everything to me. When they give me their time, it makes me feel such a better person, and I feel like I'm be a better version of myself.
When they give, say that again.
When someone's willing to give me their time.
Oh, okay.
And whatever it is, if it's face to face on the phone, whatever it is, and they give me their time, and I hold them in a high regard. They mean a lot to me, personally or professionally or both, whatever it may be, and they give me their time. It means everything to me, and I feel like I'm a better version of myself. And that's the audience I've been able to develop over the last few years of being on social media, is let people know I'm there. Because what happened a lot of times in my first year on social media, well, Anthony, I've been wanting to message you, but I felt like you were too busy. And I'm like, whoa, stop. I'm never too busy for you.
I understand. I get that. Who told you to get on Facebook?
You did.
Who?
You did, and you were right with that.
Who told you to get on Facebook?
You did.
I did?
Yes, you did.
I told you to get on Facebook.
And I told you you were freaking nuts, and I'm paraphrasing there.
But who told you to get on Facebook?
Once again, you. Let's just keep moving on. So,
right.
well, but
no, we can stay on this for a while.
Whatever. You never know what's going to come out of both Craig and mine.
All right, so everyone that's listening right now, the 5, 6, 7,000 people that are going to end up watching this thing, Craig Lockard, hey, look, I'll either take the blame for Anthony Santangelo or the credit. Whichever camp you're in,
sometimes you have to take
guy.
Sometimes you have to take both.
Yeah.
Well, it's just reality, But,
yeah.
But anyway, to get back to the point that
not everybody loves you.
That's right.
I love you.
And you know what? That's okay, because because other people are confused doesn't mean you and I have to be.
That's right.
So I'm not here to win a freaking popularity contest. I'm here to be the most real person you've ever met in your life, and that's what I'm going to win every time.
Yeah. However, I got a problem with I don't necessarily agree with you're not doing it right unless you have haters. That thing, I don't know, man. I don't
discussed
really
this,
like that.
We have, and it's. But here's the bottom line. We can't control when someone is blessed with success because they made certain choices in their life. You made a choice back in November of 1997 to open Automax up and to move out of the trench and to sell your shares and do that. And that has touched over 180,000 people's lives as far as new hires, existing training, on top of the dealer clients, on top of the trainers, on top of the W-2 employees, on top of people you've spoken at conferences. There's probably close to 500,000 people that you have impacted because you made a decision.
Those carrots are not for you to eat. Those are for you to give Dixie.
Okay. So it's one of those things where it's like you make a choice to do that, and now when you do that, there's an impact. When you give someone your time with it, you don't know how important it is to them. I had someone reach out to me a month and a half ago. I knew who he was when he private messaged me. We were friends on Facebook. Come here, Dex. Here you go. Here you go, puppies. And reached out to me for my time. I knew who he was by name. We were connected, but I didn't know off the top of my head what store he worked for. I didn't remember that. And I said, absolutely. I said, this is the time I'm available. Give me a call. Mm-hmm. And we spoke. And this gentleman's a salesperson in a store that's struggling. He has 2 children and one on the way, and he was suicidal. And I don't have any fancy degrees, $50 words. I don't. But when we finished the phone conversation, there was a change. Yeah. Not just professionally, but personally.
Yeah. Well, you don't know. It's
and you don't know, and that's the big thing. We don't know how long we're going to live, and we don't know what's going to happen in someone's life. We had 2 people in the month of February in the car industry, one in Virginia and one guy that I competed against in Pennsylvania. It was the same product that I sold for years. We competed against each other.
Hey, Jim Fitzpatrick. I'm sorry to interrupt you, dude. Jim, we need to talk. I would think it would be important. Jim and his wife,
Bridget. I have a message. I have a message to Bridget from a few days ago.
I would love to get you guys up here in studio. For those few that don't know who they are, it's CBT News down in they're They're still in Atlanta, right? It's Atlanta.
They're about 40 minutes outside of Atlanta.
Right.
Is where their
Just
studio is.
awesome show. I did a live show there a couple of years ago with Brian Passion. The studios in I think it was the old building. They changed, right?
I believe it did.
Did you change buildings, Jim?
I was there 2 years ago. So
Yeah, Jim, we need to talk, man. I would love to have you on a long form podcast up here. It would be, I think the audience would love that. So I'll send you an invite. We'll talk about it, but I really would be honored if you'd make it up here for the show.
And Bridget and I exchanged messages. Jim's fantastic, amazing wife. About 2 weeks before NADA, and she told me she had some interest coming on my show, and just after NADA,
she interviewed me at what were they called? Them DMCFs. One of the Pash's events at NADA. We were in a hotel, or it was at the airport hotel. I don't know where the NADA was that year. I don't know if we were in San Francisco. I can't remember where we were, but there was the Pashas were putting on an event, and CBT was there. Bridget, they had a screen set up and all the cameras and everything, and a couple stools, and interviewed me for a while. She just seemed very pleasant, very nice person, and
she very much is. They just had another grandchild. Recently
is that right?
as well. They did.
That's cool. There, and I know there's a lot of good shows on the station, man. Mark Tewart does a nice show, and Becky does a show.
Becky does F&I Today.
I got to talk to you about something. I have something for Becky.
Okay.
That is life-changing.
Okay.
That is right now top secret, but I'll tell you after the show, and it's a multi-million-dollar deal. Okay. So I'll tell you about it, and Becky, you and I need to talk about this pretty quick. Also, some other F&I superstars out there. Shaka, I need to talk to you about this. And who am I missing?
Adam Marburger.
Yeah, Adam. Adam for sure. I need to talk to all the F&I heavyweights about this. This is a big deal, a big, very timely deal. So need to talk to you all about that. So you guys want to... Jim says join us in the studio.
I see.
You first.
I'm just waiting for my invite to come back down, Jim. That's all.
Yeah. I'd come down, Jim. Just first class airfare. I'll pull a Jim Ziegler, and a locker don't sit in the back of any plane. So. Shout out to Jim too, by the way.
Yes.
Just real quick.
Yes.
I know we're jumping around here a little bit, but I think Debbie's latest was this morning. Yesterday he went back in the OR. I probably should read it word for word, but his esophagus, I believe, had to be stretched or something to match his stomach that was moved. Long story short, which sounded pretty gruesome to me, and it frankly concerned me a little bit, but this morning's update was really good.
Yes.
So somebody tag Jim and Debbie Ziegler in this, and just, man, it's... Jim really is a tough son of a bitch, man. I mean, it is a brutal freaking surgery he went through. Frankly, that's what took my mom, and years ago. So, unfortunately, the technology was not, and the science wasn't there when she had this. But he is a tough son of a bitch, man, and a lot of faith in there. Think what you want, but then I don't care. But the power of prayer is very strong, and man, there are a lot of people pulling for that old car dog, so alpha dog. So
yeah, it's important.
So Debbie, I just want to let you know that we are, a lot of people say stuff like this, but we as our group, we have an internal staff page that we communicate on, and our company is such where most, if not all, the people are pretty faith-based. And as a group, we are, in fact, praying for Jim and his recovery, and for you, Debbie. And I mentioned this on Tuesday's show, but we are going to bring the crew down, millionaire producer Adam, and bring the crew down to Atlanta, after Jim's feeling a little bit better, and get you and Jim. I think Jim mentioned when I talked to him about this a couple months ago, he said, I think there's a hotel, like just outside. I don't want to go ahead and dox you, but you live in a gated community back in Georgia again, but evidently there's a hotel there, like very near the gates into your community. So we'll set up there and spend 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, whatever, with you and the Alpha Dog. I want to get you guys on camera for a long form podcast. I think the world would really like that, and obviously we wait till Jim's bench pressing 400 pounds again, and we'll get that on there. So yeah,
definitely thoughts and prayers with
yeah,
with
we love you guys. So
we do. Yeah, big influencer in industry and good friend. You know,
God bless Jim is right, Jim. Jim. So
okay,
what were we talking about? Let me, Adam, are you awake in there? Or you?
I'm still here.
Okay, all right. I want to know. Sometimes you smoke weed and you fall asleep halfway through the show, so I want to make sure.
Usually that's about like an hour in. We're still
okay. We're good.
Fresh
so,
here.
all right. Wait, current events, man. What's happening in your world? What should we know about?
How current do you like this? How was it getting in here today? The drive.
Dude, it was like somebody dropped an atom bomb somewhere on 95. Had you not texted me this morning and told me, I would still not be here. They had a flashing sign. Did you catch that? Did you happen to see the sign to take an alternate route, Anthony?
I was watching the news in the breakfast room
of
my home, so to speak. And I saw I-95, but.
Right.
I went to a funeral this morning. Our dear friend and one of my mentors, Bobby Stevens, an Automax trainer, his mom passed, and so I took a different route. I took the turnpike up versus 95. Yeah, so it wasn't an issue at all. Even though the reason why we were 5 minutes late was because of me, And so, but so it wasn't an issue. But I saw it this morning, and I saw that the exit for Street Row was closed, and I was like, "Oh shit!" It was my first responsibility, my first thought, and I was like, "I'll just get around to the big deal."
Right. I got off. I did a big roundabout, but thanks, Adam, or I'd have been screwed, dude. I don't. What happened? Do you know, Adam? I mean, it had to be a bunch of cars or something.
So I come the other way. So I come from north. I take 95 south, and. I was on my way, and I start seeing some lights up ahead. Like police and
right. And when you see police lights, that normally scares you, of course.
Well, it's usually behind me.
Right.
This time it was in front on the other side, but
Yep.
And I noticed that there isn't anybody. There are no cars going north. So I think, oh boy, this has got to be bad.
Yeah.
And I end up driving past the accident, and there's a car on the median. There's 2 cars in the trees on the other side, like off the shoulder.
Oh, no kidding.
And they're all pretty banged up. I hope everybody's okay.
Yeah.
And, I haven't really heard much about it since.
Right.
But driving down, first thing I thought is this is going to be huge because that's a major stretch of road that people are,
It's the only way to get to New York.
Up and the exit to our office is where they were diverting traffic. So.
Right there. Yeah, right there.
But
your office is right here off 95.
Yeah, and rubbernecking's always been a deal, but now with with cameras in our cars, now it's an event where everybody's got. You see an accident, everybody's rolling by with a video camera, hoping to see some dead people on the highway. It's like
what's crazy?
Messed up, man.
What's crazy about that? The deputies out in Los Angeles that took the pictures.
What was that?
That's just uncalled for.
Matt said for you to smile.
I saw it. But it's just it's just uncalled for that the deputies took pictures of the remains.
Yeah,
that just was.
Well, I think what's her name? What's Kobe's wife's name?
Vanessa.
Yeah, I think she's going to sue her. Didn't she file a suit or something?
She was just appointed. She filed a wrongful death suit against the helicopter company and the pilot, who it appears that he was negligent.
Oh, no kidding.
It seems like because he took a risk.
Yeah.
Type of thing. It's one thing to take a risk for a career. It's another to take a risk when it comes to people's lives, and you're a doctor or a helicopter pilot, something like that. Different story. With it. So, but it's.
Well, what else in the news, Adam? Anything else? Anything else? Current events? The world like to know?
Well, the coronavirus is getting very real.
There we go.
In this area,
we couldn't go without the coronavirus.
In this area,
this is what we touched on on Tuesday.
Yep.
I tried to keep it,
Things have
fresh with
changed since
something
Tuesday,
new, but
dude.
since Tuesday they shut down a whole school district,
Yep.
Bucks County.
Oh, really? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, in this area they closed schools today.
Oh, no shit. I
don't
did
think
not
there
know
were
that.
any confirmed cases.
No, not
but
in
it's
Jersey.
more.
don't
As of
think.
this morning, there were 0 people affected in the state of Pennsylvania.
Hey, Adam, do me a favor. Google number of people killed by lightning in the U.S. 2018 or 19 or whatever. Google that up. Let's hear that number. I don't know this number, but I think it's going to be significant.
Okay.
I mean, do you ever walk out of your house in the morning and think, shit, I hope I don't get hit by lightning today?
No.
No, of course not.
And the corona thing doesn't bother me at all either. And I travel for a living.
Yeah.
It's just I'm gonna live my life. And
So there's the first thing that comes up.
Yeah.
Says the average over the last 30 years, the U.S. averages 43 reported lightning fatalities per year.
40. Okay. So 43 people a year for, what'd you say, 30 years?
30-year average.
30-year average, 43 people get hit by lightning. Now, I'm not, obviously, this is going to be, condolences to anyone that's lost somebody due to this virus, obviously. I mean, this is a real thing. This is not a hoax by any means. The media's coverage of it is absolutely borderline illegal, in my opinion. It's absolutely horrendous. However, I mean, what's the death toll in the United States? It's not, what is it, 20? Or
Look it up real quick.
Saying something stupid here, but it's not, I don't know what it is. Now we're only, 2 months into the year or whatever, but I don't know what the death toll is, but it's
Looks like it's 11.
11. Okay, so I'm obviously not making a light of 11 people passing from anything. However, 43 people are going to be killed by lightning this year in the United States. So now, in saying that, however, I do have some situations coming up that I have to make decisions on, like real quick, and they involve travel and they involve being in a room with 300, 400, 500, 600, 700 people, in another event that's smaller, and it, flights and this and that, and I'm planning a thing going to a park. Here, did I tell you Joanna and my best pal Brendan I think we're going to Legoland down in Florida, in Orlando.
Yes, you did.
So, but it's got me a little freaked out, and I know you're living in 2 hotels.
One hotel and an apartment.
Okay.
But yes.
All right,
And then hotels all across in campaigns on top of that.
yeah, and hotel living is kind of cool. I did that for a while after one of my divorces. But and I actually kind of got into it, and really, actually, when I came to New Jersey, I was doing what were called turnaround deals, where we come in and establish a strategy, recruit people, and put in a very, very, very specific selling system into a dealership. And I lived in a hotel for about 4 or 5 months in Atlantic City, and it was actually kind of awesome. It was actually pretty awesome. However, next week, matter of fact, the guy just called me. I'm having my wood floors redone in my home, and I literally have to be out of my house for 5 days. This guy's like a complete Nazi. He's not a Nazi. He happens to be Asian. He has to be Chinese, which
you have to move out of your house for 5 days.
Yeah, right. So I got to be out of my house for 5 days, and so I got to go stay in a local hotel for 5 days. So, which should be interesting. So,
It's not the end of the world. I'm enjoying it.
Hey guys, also, and we'll actually get into the show here a little bit as we go, but share this out would be awesome. You're watching there's a couple ways to do this. Automax Recruiting, our YouTube channel, Automax Recruiting. Subscribe. It's a really legit, no kidding, it's a full of content. It's a really good channel. There's a lot of good information about recruiting there. There's a playlist with all the Recruiter podcast episodes, but there's like legit information there. It's not a pitch site. So I would urge you to go ahead and subscribe to our Automax Recruiting YouTube channel, also our Automax Recruiting Facebook page, and this gets shared everywhere. like I said, and we're so appreciative. I mean, so appreciative. Tuesday shows somewhere around 6,000 views on Facebook. We still haven't figured out YouTube yet. I just don't get it, but we're working towards it. But we really appreciate your loyalty, your engagement, the sharing of the content, and so forth. And like I've said, those of you that are listening right now live and are on the stream, talk amongst yourselves. Get to know each other. Make it a community where you can help each other. Rising tides raise all ships. So help each other on there. It's don't just leave it up to the two of us or whoever my guests are. Talk amongst each other and see if you can help one another. I think that's real important in this kind of thing. And Anthony, if you want, because I'm bad at this, if you want to do some shout outs, I see Sandy there. Hey, Sandy, fill out your calendar invite, girl.
Yeah, she was asking about the air. She said, should I fly into Newark? I said, absolutely freaking not.
No.
Stay away from EWR. Fly into Philly. Or if you don't want to fly into Philly, fly into BWI, which Sandy's very familiar with because she's originally from there. But stay away from Newark.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
one of the worst airports in the world.
But we got to get Sandy on the show. She is, I would say, I don't think this is a stretch by any means or an over-exaggeration. I think she's probably the number one compliance person in the automobile industry. I really
absolutely.
I don't know anyone any brighter, has done more research, is more knowledgeable than Sandy is. So she's a great follow, too. I would go ahead and follow her.
The experience, the knowledge. She's spoken at events before. She always gives you your time. I've had her guest on my show about a year ago. She was on the show.
Well, she said, I did. I'm coming for the 30th. Awesome.
Cool. There you go.
That's great, Sandy. I can't wait to sit down with you.
Yeah. Sandy's also a phenomenal dancer as well.
She's a dancer?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
Well, now I'm going to make her dance here on the podcast.
You never saw her on Facebook Live doing her dancing?
No, I did not.
No? Yeah, she does. She does some phenomenal dancing.
I watched part of her show the other day, and somebody said something about dancing.
That was me.
What the hell's that about?
That was me. Show me. When she was live, like when she was doing her live, I put on there. I said, "Show me some of that Spanish dancing." I said, it's just because she's a phenomenal dancer, and I'm talking about like the twist and the turns.
No kidding.
And, like
kind of like you with the way you sing.
Kind of.
Why would you slam Sandy like that? That's a horrible thing to say.
See, I played along with it. I was under waiting just to set me up with it. So,
right.
But let's let it go. So it's just,
I mean, it really does. In your head, you really do think you have a good singing voice, right?
I don't care what you think about my karaoke.
No, I know you don't care, and it's okay. It's not. It's just one opinion of 10,000, but it's just one person's opinion. But you really think that you have a good singing voice, and I know you love it.
It doesn't matter if.
But it's flat.
Okay.
But I know that makes you happy, and as long as you're happy, I'm happy.
Last time I checked, it gets a lot more views than most of the Facebook Lives. So.
Yeah, it does.
Now what?
It does.
Yeah,
it does.
It does. And I had a compliment when I sung in Monday night.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I usually don't sing when I'm in Long Island.
Yeah.
I usually don't care to go out anywhere when I'm in Long Island. But I felt the need to sing, and I wanted to sing James Taylor, and so
James Taylor's awesome, dude.
He is.
His songs are a little easier to sing, most of them.
And that's part of the reason why I got the compliment, because it was, I sang "You've Got a Friend," and
that's a great
that
song.
was my pace,
Yeah. How close are you to when you go out there? What's the name of the store we're at? On Long Island.
Oh,
where we're at?
Atlantic Automotive Group. I mean, I do a lot of their stores.
How close is that to Center Reach, Long Island?
30 minutes about. It depends on what store I'm at.
Is Husted Chevrolet still there in Center Reach?
That I don't know.
They used to have a thing, UPIO Kaye Husted Chevrolet. It was one of my original accounts.
Okay.
It was
so they did it from the Bruce Willis Die Hard movie.
Yeah. Okay. We'd have like 4 interviews, man. I mean, it was brutal there. That place was brutal. But okay.
There's always a possibility I might have changed ownership, maybe, because I don't recognize the name of the store, so it might be a different ownership.
Melissa said, "Love to see you sing, Anthony."
Thank you, Melissa.
Sucking up, Melissa.
Well, Melissa Skinner's a fan of mine and a friend.
Right.
Said that always helps. So thank you, Melissa, for
Melissa's also hard of hearing. So So, all right. So
We
enough
all,
of this
we all have
madness.
selective hearing.
Yes,
know,
we do.
Especially you.
Yes, I do.
You know, so.
All right, so we're a half hour into the show. We're going to have Matt Kinning actually from Rockstar Automotive Events. He's going to do a live call-in read here in a little while. Right. So I want to talk about several things with you today here, dude. One of which, and I want to start with onboarding. And let me kind of kick it off by saying this. And we've talked about this online. On our YouTube channel, we have a playlist called The Recruiter. And I don't know what episode. I think there's 23, 24 videos in there or something. And one of them is strictly about onboarding. But it's our contention. The data proves, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that most of that obscene turnover in our industry, the 75% turnover within 12 months, 90% for women, which is criminal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Probably some of it is criminal, like literally criminal.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Is due from, in the majority of it, is due to a complete negligent onboarding process of any sort, or at the very least, a poor one, and that needs to change. Because here's what happens. We've made a formal introduction to a formal offer to hire to a new hire. They get all pumped up, and I'll just paint this with a broad stroke here. And it's a man, woman, it doesn't matter. They have a significant other or not, doesn't matter. But somebody in their life knows that they're starting a new job. And they're starting a new job in an automobile dealership, typically and I'm talking about someone that's never sold cars before, someone that's never worked in a BDC before. However, it could be a technician switching stores, could be a service advisor switching stores, whatever, doesn't matter. That person, the new hire at that dealership, is going to tell someone that they're starting a new job at wherever, XYZ Chevrolet.
Right.
They're going to have a certain amount of anxiety. They're going to have a certain amount of excitement to start their new job. So they're coming there with a good attitude, typically. Mm-hmm. This is broad stroke. This is not everybody. So I'm not blasting car dealerships across the country. I'm only blasting those of you that deserve blasted. When they show up, it's got to be a big deal to you. I've talked about throwing a party. Throw a party. Have balloons, cake, donuts. Welcome them. Have the department get around and sincerely, legitimately, honestly, not phony baloney, welcome that new hire to that dealership, to that department. I don't care what department it is. Make it a big deal. Let's say it's in sales. Let's say it's in the BDC. Have their business cards ready. Don't have them scratching out business cards or writing their names in blanks. Come on. I don't even know what cards cost anymore. Are they $20?
Yeah,
or whatever it is. I mean, it's like, crap, man. $20 falls out of your pocket every day. Come on, man.
Vista Print and $15 probably.
Get them a box of cards. Have their workstation ready to go, clean, organized. Have some company swag, a sweatshirt, T-shirt, a hat, keyring, pens, whatever, set up on their desk. Make it neat, nice. Hey, there's your spot. Go ahead and throw all the trash in the trash can and take some Windex to that thing and clean it up some. That's wrong. It's bad. Don't start them off with a pile of paperwork, their I-9s and their compliance and their drug testing forms and their motor vehicle forms. Don't start them off with that stuff. That can all be done electronically. It can be done through one of our sponsors and a company we use called Automotive HR. The CEO of that company, Stephen Warner. It's a amazing company. But electronic onboarding, get all that stuff done prior to them showing up. Have their logins available for the CRM. You can't bitch and moan about them not logging customers into their CRM properly if they've never been trained. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I would venture to say that in a lot of cases, I don't know what percentage, you pick a number, it could be 2 weeks before a new hire even has a login. Come on, we can do better. Then that person, again, this is in my opinion, and this is a process that I'd like to see adopted nationwide, is take that new hire and literally, and I'm not talking about an introduction, I'm talking about literally introducing that person to every department head in the dealership and have him or her observe what that person does for even an hour a day, Anthony. If it's a service advisor, glue that new hire next to the service advisor. And I don't care what position they're starting a dealership at, because we know synergy is a big thing for us. Yes or no?
Yes.
So to have a very successful automobile dealership, or any business for that matter, there has to be a synergistic goal or outcome in mind for all the human capital, all the team members in your business. Well, the only way you can do that is by these people knowing each other and know what their job is. Yes, right? I mean, it's so important. So I'm going to stick. So if I get a new hire, and again, we can talk mostly about sales and BDC because that's at least 50% of our business. Attach that person to a service advisor. So let's just focus on a salesperson or BDC. They're, in my opinion, they're going to be interchangeable here shortly anyway. Attach that person to a service advisor. See what he or she does for an hour a day in the morning. Attach that person to somebody in the finance office. See what that step of their job is. Attach them with the receptionist, the person that answers the phone, and see how critical that position is. Attach them to the general manager. Yeah, GMs, step up. If you want to reduce the turnover of your store, put that new hire salesperson, that 22-year-old kid, have him or her follow you around for an hour, maybe 2, and see what your life is like. Because if things go south on that new hire, they're going to blame you. They're going to blame you. Your fault or not, they're going to blame you. Human nature. Yeah, my GM sucks. My manager sucks. And they don't. You don't suck. Well, I don't want a new... It's important. Have them see what your life is like. Attach them to the used car manager. I'm telling you, put them in a parts department. Put them in detail for sure. Put them in the detail department and see what that person's life is like. So they get a full appreciation and full understanding and create the synergy that needs to take place in an automobile dealership. Now, let's say it's a salesperson. Without question, if you have a BDC in your dealership, it's in my opinion, and I know I'm not alone on this, that new hire, we can argue how long they should stay in there, at least a day, probably a week. Give them some scripts, let them make some outgoing and or take some incoming with training, calls, and see what that world's like. Because most of the business coming into the car dealership right now is based on some sort of lead source, whether it's an internal lead source or a third-party lead source. That's just a fact.
Agreed.
There's very few quote-unquote drive-bys. There is bought here before, referred. I mean,
Right.
all that's true, but most of them are from some online lead
Right.
source.
The drive-by is dried up, and chances are,
Pretty much.
if you dig, you're going to find out the source of contact was somewhere else.
Correct. Exactly right. And I don't know what you think, and we'll find out here in a minute, but they got to spend, in my opinion, and I think I'm not alone on this, they got to spend some amount of time in the BDC and see how that thing rocks, man, because that's a whole different world. So onboarding. If you properly, professionally onboard, I'm talking about you should have a culture already created. If not, one will be created for you for sure, and it's probably not one you're going to like. Talk about, show your culture to that new hire. Have him or her get their head wrapped around that, and you better walk like you talk on that deal and be real about it. But let's start that person off right. Let's develop them from jump. Don't sit them down filling out that paperwork and then slide in some old Cardone freaking videos or what's the other guy's name, Verde, or something that's outdated. I mean, Cardone is set, and I don't know. Grant, sorry, dude, but I mean, you flat out said you're not a big fan of the car business, yet you kind of cater to the car business. I don't know where you stand on that, but at any rate, I don't know. Cardone's pretty slick, and it's got some, I don't know, guy's a billionaire or whatever, and God bless him. That's awesome. However, I'm not sure it's the best automotive sales training out there. There's, in my opinion, a lot of better people. Frankly, I'm not blowing smoke up your skirt. In my opinion, you, Anthony, are better off. You're a better person. If I sat down one person in front of you, never sold cars before, and take a duplicate person and you train one and name the rock star trainer, takes the other one, in my opinion, no baloney, your new hire is going to do better than that person's new hire because your training's real. Other stuff sounds good, but it's like it's not transferable to other people, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But my point is this, that the initial day of training, the initial day of development is so important because that man or woman is going to go home, and at some point they're going to be asked the question, what, Anthony, from their significant other?
How was your day, honey?
How was your first day at work, right? And they only got 2 ways to answer that question.
Right.
Sucked. Mm-hmm. That ain't for me. Right. Let's keep looking. Now, they'll hang around. They'll grab a couple checks from you, but they're a history lesson. Yeah. They're gone, right? They're going to hang around, grab a couple checks, and they're gone. They've already mentally checked out. Mm-hmm. Or they're going to come home and go, wow, yeah, let me tell you about this place. I can't believe, I wish I had done this 5-10 years ago. This place is awesome. They had a party for me. They had everything done. I learned so much in my first day. I can't wait to get back there tomorrow to see what I'm going to learn tomorrow. This is going to be life-changing for us, honey, mom, dad, whatever the relationship might be. That's the way it has to be. Mm-hmm. And it's not that difficult. We have to make a commitment, a decision to do it. Spend a couple bucks on swag, and I'm talking about cheap. Have it set up. Do it right. Think your way through it. There is no more important investment, ladies and gentlemen, that you can make than in your human capital right from jump. You have 2 choices. Either make that investment of time and or money and potentially retain that talent that you hired, or see them walk through the door and complain about it and never change anything. So with that long-winded lead in, your opinion on onboarding. I mean, okay, it's important. Bang, end of story. But how do you see it? I mean, you are in stores every week, and we're right in the middle of this, and depending on what dealers are willing to spend and how much time they want, one of you guys or one of you trainers in their stores, depends on how much we can do in terms of onboarding. It's unfortunately a lot of stuff comes down to money. But what do you see? I mean, do you see the correlation between proper onboarding and improper onboarding based on when you go back to the store, how many people are left from a previous recruiting campaign, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's kind of obvious. You put 7 people in a store and you're back there 4 months from now and there's 1 person there. It's like, there's an issue there. Mm-hmm. It's not the people we got them. They're fully vetted, fully interviewed, initially trained, something up, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not trashing our clients. Our clients are amazing, and they've been with us forever, most of them. And but what's the correlation from your eyes as a trainer? What do you think? What are you seeing?
Well, the biggest thing with onboarding is, number one, you got to set the stage with that new hire and what their expectations are. Expectations is a huge word, both inside and outside the walls of the dealership. I've been learning about that the past month or so in my life. And the key is the communication. Let them know what's going on. We always want everyone to be honest with us. You have to be truthful with them and set things up. And then honor your word in being efficient. It can't be, hey, we're going to do this, this, and this tomorrow. But then you come in and all of a sudden you get tied up.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, it's 2:00 in the afternoon. Oh, I've been meaning to get to it, but that's
Right.
bullshit.
Yeah. Well, you got to have a plan B because stuff does come up,
It does.
right?
But
So
it's all a matter of priorities.
have a
you
plan
know?
B. If you know that, hey, here's my best intentions. Here's our plan. Here's what we're going to do. However, like if I'm the GM, you're the GSM, we got new people starting. All right. Now my plan is I'm going to do this, this, or that with the new hires tomorrow. But all hell breaks loose and I can't do that. I know that I already have a handoff plan that, okay, hey, everything went sideways. Now Anthony's going to come in. Anthony's going to help you today, guys, because of this, this, or that. So I have a plan B. So it's the same or better that you're in there with them rather than me. But the point is, they don't get ignored.
Yes.
Because who wants to be ignored?
That is the whole key.
Yeah.
Because when you ignore someone, it doesn't feel. When someone feels ignored, it does not feel good at all, personally and professionally. And we're not going to talk about the interview today, but it's the same thing when you interview an applicant. If they're sitting there for 20 minutes, it's a problem. To finish their application. So from the onboarding standpoint, you set the stage and the precedence. Okay, congratulations. Here is our next steps. We're going to bring you aboard. So if you drug test, if you background check, if you do those things, you're going to get an email sent to you, or here's the test, or go pee in the cup now. Go do that now. This is how long it's going to take. And to be on top of that. Or, like you talked about, GM, GSM, delegate
Right.
the authority.
Right.
So if you have doing that, you've been learning that the last couple of years
Yeah.
with Automax.
Yeah.
You have been delegating to your two partners,
Right.
Joe and Ernie,
Yeah.
more of the business
Yeah.
with it. You're still involved, but it's you're delegating.
Yeah.
And you've
We
delegated.
end up making more money too
Right. I mean that's true.
because they're smarter than me.
Well, it's not a matter of that. It's a matter of the totals greater than the sum of its individual parts.
Exactly.
Because if you are sitting there as an owner of an organization or a GM or a GSM and you try to do everything yourself, none of us can do everything by ourselves.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to delegate that way. You've delegated things to me,
Yeah.
as well. So it's like you go that route and then you talk about it and find plans. We have conversations, you and I. What do you think of this? But blah, 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 to this. And it doesn't mean necessarily go with what I think, but you at least value my opinion.
I do.
Type of thing. So it's like you go that route, and that's what you want to do with your employees. So to get back to the process, okay, you go through that. That should take 48 to 72 hours maximum, dealerships. It shouldn't take longer than that. If you have someone that has to give a 2-week notice, here is what I tell them. Because yesterday I had 15 people in class. In training, 11 of them were hired.
Stop. Don't lose track of that. But I need to
I love when you do this.
I need to interrupt because this is really important. I see it because internal stuff, audience, our recruiter trainers, when they're on the road, they daily send in a document. It's called a tally that keeps track of a lot of data to the home office in regard to the current recruiting campaign that they're in. And a lot of there's a place for notes there. And oftentimes a note will come across something to the effect of, I had X amount of interviews. We invited X amount of people back for the training. A dealer passed on these 2 people because they had to give 2 weeks notice. And it's like, what? And again, dealers, I'm not beating up on you. However, how about if we look at it this way? Do you want to hire a new hire that's been at a company for whatever length of time and is just going to blow out, not give that current employer any notice, and join you right away? Dixie, come here. Dix, come here.
She's not being properly onboarded right now.
Dix, relax. Come here, girl.
Dixie.
Dixie, come here. Dix, come here. Get a treat. Come here. Wacko. What the heck are you barking at? I'm sorry. So, would you rather have that person, or would you rather have the person that gives their former employer, current employer, the respect to give them a 2 weeks notice, man? Because if they blow out of there, guess what they're going to do to me?
Right. Here's the key. Okay. In the car industry, we all know, what are we taught? What you've done for me lately. Everything
Right.
wants to be done now, 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 now. If you
Right.
don't spot them, you don't got them. Right. So we've learned those things.
Yeah.
We've learned those things. But here's the thing: a lot of these potential new hires, these candidates, are coming in from corporate America, so they're not used to things moving like that.
True.
So you have to be able to respect that. But the key to that is to put the proper communication with it. So to go back to yesterday, right? I had 15 people in training at Advantage Hyundai in Hicksville, New York. My third time that I've been there. Big shout out to John Stern, who had a enormous record February.
Yeah.
His-
Great review, by the way. The video
it was
review
a great
was
review.
awesome.
3 times the net profit February over February
Really?
off the net.
Three times?
3 times. And you know what he was doing? When I walked in and said, "You ready for interviews, dude?" He was online buying his office some thank you things. Buying the accounting department.
No
Yes.
kidding.
That's what he was doing.
Well, he seemed like it's funny. In the trainers, a lot of trainers get video reviews from our dealer clients, the contact person at dealership. You could tell watching that video, Anthony, that he's a real, besides being a real car guy and businessman, just seemed like a nice person.
He's a great guy. We developed a great
Yeah.
relationship over the last handful of years. And his top sales manager was an Automax graduate over 12 years
Oh, is that
ago.
right?
Yeah, Mike.
That's
So
interesting. That's cool.
Yeah, so
go ahead.
it's-
You had
it's
15
on-
people.
So you have 15 people. He chose to hire 11, offered 11 employment. The other 4 I immediately hooked up and sent for interviews. Well,
Right.
3 I sent for interviews. 1 has it today because he couldn't do it right away after training.
Right.
So he has his today. There are 3 there. I've only heard back from 1 so far, but she was hired.
Awesome.
With it. I spoke to her as I was driving home last night, and she's ecstatic.
Did Rob or Melissa help
No, I
you
took
with
care
that?
of it.
Okay.
I took care of that. So because I had my contacts and everything.
Gotcha.
With it. So, so when you have that, the whole key to that, the 11 people they brought on board, 5 were plug and play right away, which means Facebook Nation, whoever's on here, that they can start as soon as possible once everything clears. 1 had to give a 1-week notice. 5 had to give a 2-week notice. And when I'm in New York,
Love you too, Sam.
I find that there was more people that have to give a 2-week notice in New York than any other state
Really?
that I've gone in, because most people are employed up there because everything's so expensive. You just don't see them, being unemployed a lot of times outside of a young person maybe, or the rare time where someone has laid off and it was downsized. But most times there's a notice that has to be given a lot more than often. So in that scenario, I said it's my responsibility first. Congratulations, coming aboard. Here is the next step. So for the Casey Lank Automotive Group, there's going to be an email sent for an electronic application, and then it's going to be a drug screening. You got to print that out. The directions will be there. You have
That's
to go
via email.
Via email.
There you
go.
go.
Pee on the potty right away
There
and
you
do
go.
that. I know you have to get your 2-week notice, but I want you to do this immediately.
Right.
Do you understand that? Absolutely, Anthony. I won't let you down.
Right. Well, it commits them,
Yes.
too.
Right.
It's a little bit obligated.
And it's
obligates them
the
more.
tonality as well. Because when I'm saying this, I'm saying it the way I'm saying it right now. I'm
Right.
driving the point home
Gotcha.
to make sure they understand that.
Yeah.
And then I say to them, okay, it is your responsibility, not theirs, yours to communicate to make sure the onboarding is taken care of to come aboard. Don't burn your bridge.
Right.
That's the one side of my mouth there,
Right.
new hire.
Right.
But the other side of my mouth is this. Try to get here as soon as possible, but don't burn a bridge.
Right. Right.
So I have that in there, and I draw it in their head. So now they have the expectations again is detailed out, and then right away, boom, here's my card. If there's any issues whatsoever, you call me. I'm only a ding, ping, or ring away. I'm not too busy. And for yesterday, I told them, if you have to reach me tomorrow afternoon, you're going to have to leave a message. I already had one text me already. That she texted me when I was on here. I'm not going to be able to respond from 12 to whatever in the afternoon, but I'll get back to you late afternoon, early evening. Just I won't be available from 12 to whatever.
Yeah.
So I told them that ahead of time. So the expectations are there. So now you do that, and now I sent the information. to their corporate person who I'm very good friends with. And then she emailed me back this morning, and we texted this morning. And then it's going to be, she had some things going on, so now we delegated. So now one of the managers in the store, so I texted the GM who's off today. Hey, John, sorry to bother you, dude. I know you're off today, but this, blah, 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 blah. No problem, man. Got back to me right away. I'm going to get on top of it, and then text me, here's the person that's going to handle this, and we're going to send everything out. Don't worry, I got them. Right. That is exactly why, that's how things work. You know, when you have a repeat client, because they've seen that in the review yesterday that John did. He says, I don't know how you guys get people. I get one person every 2 months. He brought 15 people. He put in there, which is reality. And they're a huge store in Long Island. They're setting records, and they're about to open another point in the summertime as well, which is going to be exciting. He's going to run. Yeah. You know, so it's like you have to set those expectations there when it comes to the new hire. It's the same thing when you're setting expectations when you meet people in your personal life, same exact way as well. You know, so when you do that, now you have that, and now you communicate. And the communication is a wonderful thing. So now things are good. So now let's speed up the process a little bit more. Drug screening's done. Background is done. Now they come in their first day. You're starting Wednesday. You're starting Thursday. The notice is up, whatever it may be, and they're coming in. It's imperative, like Craig talked about, have them understand what each department does, but I have a little different spin on it than what Papa Lockhart over here said earlier. I like the idea of we have the speed dating, or we have the, what do they call it in the events now? The TED Talks or whatever. Right. Do a TED Talk, a 15 minutes with each department. Because when you were talking there, hour, 2 hours, I could see a management staff and leadership positions in the store saying, I don't got time for that, Craig. What you're saying is right, but I don't got time for that, dude. I got to make deals. So 15 minutes, we always can find time. And again, remember, if you don't give someone's time, you don't know how their life can be negatively impacted. Where you give them that couple minutes, not only is it employee retention, you can literally save their life. And again, I'm harping this a little in more detail because I had a salesperson, many salespeople reach out to me, and GMs and managers to vent. And I had the person literally about a month and a half ago reach out, and he wanted to commit suicide. And the conversation was, we overcame that, and he's doing well, type of thing. So it's like, you don't know. What if I ignored his call? And then all of a sudden, it shows up on Facebook, and it's like that. Right. That's a problem.
Well, yeah. Okay, so I'm not talking about each of these various people in each department actually training them. I'm talking about the new hire observing what's going on.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Anybody can tag along for an hour. I mean, it's like it has nothing to do with time. That person's just going to watch you operate, even if you're not doing anything for an hour. And I don't know what the time is.
But it's important to engage them, Craig. You're not going to have them sit there. You sit in the corner and children will be seen and not heard. No, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You got to have to engage them a little bit more. So you take the 15 minutes and then, okay, we'll move to detail. Move to accounting.
I guess.
Because, think about it. Does a controller want a new hire sales or BDC rep?
Well, no, that's a little different. You got to be careful in the admin office. Yeah. But even if, the way salespeople generally, unless you got a box of donuts, you're not allowed in the admin office. But if just spitballing here, you get a new hire. And let's say you have an open office and you got a title clerk, you have a receivable, payable person, you have whatever, all the various admin people in there. Tell that new hire, okay, you go in the office, you stand in the middle, put duct tape across their mouth, I don't care what you got to do, and just have them observe what goes on, the chaos. So they have a respect, a healthy respect for it. They don't need to know title work. They should know the flow, after the deal goes through an F&I to get funded, and then the title gets sent out, it comes back from the DMV, yada, 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 all that's done, and the car's paid off, their trade's paid off. They need to know that, but it doesn't have to come from the admin office. What I want to do with a new hire is that they see that all the people involved in your job is immense. Yeah. It's not like, so when and I don't know how deeply, I don't know what the actual psychology is. However, okay, bang, you're a car salesman. All right, well, what does that mean? What's all involved in that? Well, there's more than just me talking about features, benefits with a potential client and them ultimately purchasing a vehicle from me in the dealership. There are literally, I mean, how many people touch that deal in some form or fashion? 10, 12, include service. I mean, it's like, right? I mean, it's like a lot of people touch that deal. So, just from my standpoint, it's just, I want them to spend, look, more time's better than less time, yes or no?
Yeah.
I mean, it just is.
Well, quality
but
time
at
is
the
the key.
very least, they got to do what you're saying. At the very least, bare bones. I think the most important thing that our listeners should realize, and I think that we can agree on, is that you got to have some process.
Right.
Other than
It goes back to
go get 'em.
expectations again and laying out this is what's going to happen on your first day.
Yeah.
So you have it that way, and understand that. And the appreciation part's a valid point that you said.
Yeah.
There's been in the past, sales department versus accounting isn't always on the same page. That's happened a lot. And that's I'm saying it lightly. But when you take the time and accounting sees what goes into working a deal, the hours, the time, not just the money that's being made as they're printing out pay stubs and things like that, and then the sales department appreciates the accounting department. They're not working just 9 to 4, but they take the time to do that. Or when we have an issue or something like that, you want to do that. I'm going to mention somebody. Her name's Abby Mulhern. Abby and I used to work together, and we met in 2007. I was already 10 years in the business, worked together for many years. There was times that we were not on the same page, her and I, with it. Over the time, we became to really respect each other, and we become good friends with it. And there's a lot of respect, and she's an HR manager, but she does everything, where I got to the point where I could call her, and every once in a while, actually I called her a few weeks ago about something, and I said, hey, listen, I hate to bother you. I know you're slam busy, but any chance you do this? And she took care of it right away. No problem, man. Mm-hmm. I don't even work with her anymore. Mm-hmm. So it's like one of those things. It's like you develop that, and it's a respect for each other. It doesn't mean you have to understand where everyone's coming from, but if you appreciate that, it brings the culture that you need in your store with that. So they're going to keep going with the onboarding process here. So now you do that with all different processes. People, you're meeting them. You're understanding what's going on, what service does, how to write up an RO, what the techs are doing back there, what the lotologist position is, details.
The what?
Lotologist.
Lotologist.
Yeah, call them lotologist. They have a degree in lotology.
And you just gave them all a raise.
Absolutely.
It's fancy.
Nothing wrong with that. So
nothing wrong.
But it's like the BDC and go that. So now you're presenting that, and now you say, okay, here's the certification, and this is what I always encourage when you bring. And it's a good practice to bring on multiple people at one time. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of responsibility, dealers, and we get it, and we know you're busy and you're slammed, and you got to move the needle. And March is the busiest month of the year in the car industry. I get it. But when you bring them on together, you want to team them up. Here's your certification. It's open book test. You guys can help each other. You're not cheating. It's all open book. Learn together. Because now they're developing a synergy. And this is what I develop and I teach in our training, where I am trying to get them to engage with one another. Because when you engage you have a group, if you have 6 people, 7 people, or 25 people in that room, and they're engaging together, they're going to end up relying on each other. Because yes, I'm only a ding, ping, a ring away, but I'm not there 24/7, 365 or 366 this year. But they are. So now when they think twice about it, they can encourage each other, and that's how you develop the employee retention with that.
Yeah.
And also, you can end up developing great friendships. There's a guy that I helped bring aboard in 2011 when I was still in the trench, who's still at the original store, making well over 6 figures a year. I was the best man in his wedding. So I mean, it's just, and he has 2 older brothers, and he chose me. So it's like, you develop that. And I was talking to him last night. So it's like you develop that because of that mentorship, that synergy of working together. So now when you do that, now your time can be freed up a little bit from a leadership standpoint, because they're working together on that. And you're not going to lose people as much. And they're getting a call, oh, I hired 6 people and 3 quit the first day. Okay, well, why?
Right.
Now at the end of the day, it is so pivotal. Talking about time, it is so pivotal in a best practice, GSM or higher, to take 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, and TO your new hire before they leave. Because what have we taught in the car industry, right? Whether if you started in 1973 or you started in 1997, if you don't TO that customer, you might as well walk out the door with them with your blowout box. You're done, and I'm paraphrasing it, and you can say a bunch of other things in there as well. On it, let's TO our employees. Hey, Craig, how was your first day? Oh, Anthony, it was okay. Talk to me like you know me.
Love it.
You're not going to get fired.
Right.
Don't bullshit me.
Right.
Tell me what you saw.
Right.
I care about you more as a person.
What can we
than
do
as
better
production.
tomorrow for you?
Right. We're here to serve you.
Right.
Help me to help you,
Right.
Jerry Maguire.
Right.
So you start doing that. Well, Craig, or well, Anthony, I kind of sold this and I wasn't sure about that. And I kind of sold 2 employees that they went in the back and they kind of came back and I don't know if they were fisticuffed and what was going on back there, but I heard a lot of F-bomb. I'm a little bit nervous there. I don't want to take someone's customer. Okay, well, this is what's going on. And you start talking through that. And now when they come home, they feel a certain confidence that you do. And it's the same thing we do when we interview an applicant. There's people that I put in the training room yesterday up in Long Island that their interview, they were scared. They were uncertain. They weren't sure of the car industry.
Yeah.
But, you take the time to do that. As I was walking them down the steps, I got my exercise yesterday, down the steps quite a bit, 15 times, boom, 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 and everything, right? And do that. A couple of them, I slowed my roll as we went down the steps and said, hold on. Let's talk about a couple of things before you go meet John and Mike. I wanted to make sure that their mind was right to do that. It's so important that you have to shift gears at times with that. Even with training yesterday, training was a little different yesterday. The participation was even stronger than it normally was. And about an hour and a half, once I finished the Facebook Live, all of a sudden everyone was chatty Cathy. And they were wanting to really talk more about what I do and all that. I shifted things, and with Hyundai has money from Hyundai Corporate every month. Not every manufacturer has it every month. Sometimes it's quarterly. And the key to making a living at Hyundai is to crush your money you get from Hyundai Corporate, which is your 1099 money. Most people don't understand what 1099 is. So I had touched on this, and the one gentleman there, he was the ranked number 30th in the state of New York shooting guard in high school, and he ended up getting Lyme's disease, with it. But he was a fantastic shooting guard. He said, "Can you go a little further on this? I don't understand that." So I put my financial hat on, and I helped them explain about taxes and what to do with the money on the Hyundai card, and to not take it out as cash and hit the fees, but take 30% from your personal checking account. And all of a sudden, everyone's sitting there taking notes.
Right.
This is important because what happens in sales, if people feel like they can't make money, they start panicking.
Right.
And if they're panicking, they feel pressure.
Right.
They feel pressure, your customer feels pressure, and now all of a sudden, the customer doesn't buy a car from them, you don't sell cars, and then what happens? Well, it's not working out, see ya. Right. No. Help them understand how to make a living and be comfortable. Right. Now when they do that, the income will increase, and then help them understand to manage their money properly.
So the point is, give your new hires the information. Make sure that they understand things such as incentive money you're going to be 1099'd at, and the tax implications that could be. You need to make your new hires, your employees, your team members aware of stuff. Hey, do me a favor, Anthony, if you would. Mm-hmm. First, I got to feed Dixie.
I just gave her a treat.
She needs her. It's lunchtime for her. So, although it's always lunchtime for her. Also, I'm about a half hour late. We're going to get Matt Kenning on a live. He's going to do a live read. But if you don't mind, could you do Dealer World's?
Sure, Troy Spring. Absolutely.
Yeah. Lead. I'm going to feed Dixie here real quick.
Yep. So obviously we have some friends of the program and our sponsors, which we appreciate very much with it. So one of them is Dealer World, which is owned by Troy Spring, who is a great guy. He's up in the Lehighton, Pennsylvania area, which is about a little over 2 hours north of one of my homes. He's a wonderful person. So when you want more traffic, but you want fewer vendors, when you want to reduce your budget and fees, Dealer World can do it. Better ads with a focus on leads, and more leads. chats, phone calls, and walk-ins. Everything Dealer World does is result-oriented, from the best radio and TV to the best lead-generating digital and social. Dealer World does it all, and for sometimes half the fees you are currently paying. Visit mydealerworld.com, one of the fastest-growing performance agencies in the country, for an advertising audit to see if they can help you. I've talked to Troy about this. I talked to Troy, where was I? I was in Oklahoma. November. Chris Martinez's stores out there. And I was on the phone with Troy. And what Troy does is he'll do a free audit for your store to see your advertising budget and all that. And he'll do that. It might take him up to 14 days. He told me to do it, depending on the schedule. But they have a lot of what Troy prides himself on is the personal attention. Go back to the Jerry Maguire movie again, having the personal attention of your client, right? Well, he takes care of that because I believe, I'm pretty sure I'm correct here, every one of his employees are hands-on with this.
Cheese is unreal.
Awesome.
Really expensive.
And I'm sure Troy Spring appreciates
this
it.
Is
during his
called
advertising.
Yeah. Troy will get it. This is called champagne. There's some hot pepper jack and cheddar. Try it. It's like
awesome.
Freaking awesome, dude.
So as to get back to the point after
Yeah.
the commercial of the cheese commercial on it, so is that it's approximately the amount of employees Troy has. It's about 1.5 times the clients he has.
Yeah, it's nuts.
So the personal attention that's there, and he's not some small rinky-dink. I have 4 people and I have 10 clients. No, like he's on top of his stuff. With that, which is really exciting on it. So again, the website is mydealerworld.com.
Mydealerworld.com. They are Troy's a personal friend, so you got that. And they pay us enormous amounts of money to sponsor the show.
Right.
And however, and really what you guys really need to do is, if you're not a friend or connection with Hunter, Hunter, Swift, as in Taylor, friend Hunter. He just got a bump in job title.
Yeah, Senior Vice President, I think it was, or something like that.
Hunter is really the go-to person with Dealer World.
Yeah. California resident.
Yes. Reach out to Hunter.
Near my place.
He was on the podcast here. I forget what episode. I don't know. Lose track of time here.
Couple months, about 2 months.
Yeah, maybe just short of 2 months ago. Yep. But Hunter's a brilliant guy, awesome person. Hook up with Hunter. He'll do that eval for your store. And they'll tell you if they can help you or not, because they don't. I mean, literally, it's kind of. I don't want to sound like. I mean, you kind of got to be approved to be a customer of theirs. They're just not going to take anybody. It's got to be a proper fit for both people, or if it just doesn't make any sense, or they will not take your money. So they're an awesome company, growing leaps and bounds, just top-notch people, very results-oriented. And Troy is bringing. We might have, I'm just going to tease you guys, Troy and Dealer World and Automax Recruiting. We might have some pretty crazy big-time announcements here coming up. Maybe not, but I'm thinking 70-30 that we will, and it's going to blow car dealers' minds. So with that, I'm gonna Dixie. You got your food, which is the most expensive freaking dog food in the world. Dr. Marty's. Those of you with dogs, if you want to spend a stupid amount of money on dog food but have it change their life, look up Dr. Marty's. It really is stupid expensive, but I'm going to tell you what, the difference. It's all like real. It's like liver treats and stuff. It's like real food. I mean, dogs are wolves, and we feed them kibble and garbage. This food is ridiculous. It's really good. My dog had a shedding problem, and it eliminated 90% of it, man. It's unbelievable. And she's been through. Dixie's kind of a train wreck. Those of you that have followed her path and so forth, she's had quite a few challenges.
It's a miracle she's here.
Yeah, it's a miracle. She is.
Seriously, Facebook
or
legit miracle.
SoundCloud
or wherever you're watching it, YouTube, it's a miracle that she's here.
But she, this food is just unbelievable. Plus, her Auntie Joanna makes her homemade food with organic chicken, organic ground beef. Just this dog gets spoiled beyond belief. But
She's a fantastic cook, Joanna Weber.
yeah, she is. She's great. But okay, Dix, that's all the food. Yeah, hello, Dixie. Welcome to the podcast.
Adam, can you get a shot of her?
I don't know if he can catch her on
Is the camera angle? Can you see?
catch her at the back of her head. What are you doing, Dix? I'm gonna put you in.
I got her head peeking in there.
Do
on the
you?
wide shot.
I'm gonna put you in a chair and put cans on your ears here, Dix. All right. There's carrots up here, dude. Here. All right, go have a carrot. But now beat it. All right, so we're gonna give Jane. I know you love Dixie. We're gonna give Matt Keening a call here. Let me find Mr. Matt here. So let me tell him I'm calling.
He's been commenting left and right, so he's on here. So I'm sure.
Yeah. Gonna call you now. Hey, everybody, please share the stuff out. I just posted in there, share to your timeline, to groups, and to people on the street. So if you go ahead and do that, that'd be awesome. Let that get out there. And let me give Matt a call right now.
What's up, rock stars?
Mr. Matt, how are
I've been
you?
sitting here enjoying the show. It's been a good listen.
Yeah, it was a little a little wacky start this morning, but yeah, we'll get into the meat of the matter here. You know, when you have 2 or 3 hours, you can play around a little bit. You know, it's a little different than 15, 30, 45 minute, 60-minute shows. So we can screw around for a while. So,
I love it. I'm going to tell you that this I couldn't help but comment because I was dying when every time Anthony says he's a ping ding a ring away, it sounds like something that's late night Cinemax, and I can't help but just break down laughing every time when I hear ping ding a ring.
That's awesome.
It's my new favorite thing.
Don't break another rib,
not
Matt.
ever say out loud.
That's awesome.
But I love it. I'm a ding ping a ring away.
Well, don't break any more ribs.
Anthony said, "Don't break any more ribs."
Oh, dude, I know. I've got 2 torn right now thanks to when I was traveling, I got influenza. I thought it was the coronavirus. I was convinced I was going to die. But you're welcome, world. I fought another battle, and I'm still here.
Oh, boy.
So here we go.
All right, so listen, besides loving to talk to you and being friends with you, just a sidebar for a minute, and I reached out to Dara yesterday. She sent me she is so thoughtful, man. She sent me a thank you card yesterday, handwritten thank you card with a note, she is so flippin' thoughtful. Just what a nice person. I don't know. I have no
wife, dude. That's why I met her, and I'm like, I am not going to let her get away. She is absolutely wonderful in every way. She's an amazing woman.
Yeah, you must have lied to her somehow because it's just.
I did. I told her I was like, I'm 7 foot tall and full of muscle.
There you go.
And thankfully, she's got bad eyesight.
Bad eyesight, right? Yeah. Yeah,
no, she's so great, isn't she?
Yeah, it was just so I wrote her back and told her, I said, man, that's just really thoughtful. I really appreciate it. So,
I'm sure she appreciates that.
Yeah, she did, and it was just we owe her some. I think we're going to send some laptops out to her too, or something. I guess.
Yeah, for her charity.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Changing Your Conversation. She helps some. Which I didn't realize this, and I guess neither of us would, right? Because we're just dudes. But there are a lot of moms, women that come out of divorce that were stay-at-home moms, homemakers, or women that have just gone through some tough times and they're in transition to try and get back in the workforce. And she had a passion to start this charity after a company that she worked for, who I won't name. They let a little over 200 of their employees go through an automated phone call. They just decided they were gonna remove that role from the company, and they did some good stuff, with covering them with compensation and other stuff. But the way they let them go was, here's an automated phone call. Everybody dial in at this time. and you heard a recording going, "Hey, your job's gone, your severance is on the way. Sign the paperwork that you're going to get in the mail tomorrow," kind of deal.
Wow.
And she found herself in the spot, right, of going, "Holy shit!" This was like a stable. I'm killing it. I'm blowing it out of the water, exceeding my goals. And this was something that was seemingly stable, and then all of a sudden today it's gone. So she said, "I can't be the only woman out there going through this." So she put together this charity, and they just got their first couple clients, and right now it's only in Washington that they're working with local women out there. But Lene Tarver from your team and Danielle Burke have also helped with like resume skills and dressing for success. And so some ladies in the Automax team have been just also really I don't know any other word other than to say awesome in really helping with this, because when you start a charity, especially if you start with nothing, it means so much to have the support of great professionals, and Automax has got such a badass team, dude. Your ladies are just awesome.
They are, man. It blows my mind every day. It's like I shake my head and like wow, how'd this happen? The name of the charity again for people? Go ahead and plug that. That's cool.
It's Changing Your Conversation. So, and I believe that is just the URL, but I'm just double checking so I don't say it wrong, because God, I'd hate to blow something this big.
Yeah. And
ChangingYourConversation.com.
Okay, go ahead and feel free to put that in the comments too on the stream if you want to. That'd be cool for Dara.
Will do, man. Will do.
Now, we got something coming up in Las Vegas. What's happening in Las Vegas, Matt, that you're going to be at?
Dude, what's happening is that CNN and the news are freaking people out with this coronavirus stuff. And everybody's scared to travel, and it's driving me nuts. So what we're doing is, obviously, we've got the last auto-specific Rockstar event in Las Vegas coming up. The 2020 Vision event, Rockstar Unconference, 20 TED Talks sessions, 20 18-minute sessions, and I heard Ant reference that earlier, the TED Talk style stuff. So we're the only people to ever do this in automotive.
Right.
20 speakers, one day, 18 minutes each, no fluff. Every single session will help people do something that'll make them money. And there's two people from Automax going to kill it there. Joe Locker and Andy Buck are dropping knowledge bombs that are just going to be life changers. We've got Jody DeVere, founder of AskPatty.com, who's going to help us guys learn how to not be idiots when talking to women.
Good luck with that. Jody's awesome, man.
Dude, Jody's a rock star.
Yeah,
Dan Moore, another absolute beast, president of Vista Dash.
Fact.
And super elite awesomeness is going to be out there. I mean, dude, the list goes on and on. We got multiple BDC and internet trainers. We've got Mike from Dealer-Built, who's going to talk about recession-proofing your dealership, since we all know we're a couple years away from another huge hit in the market.
Yeah. Dealer-Built's a great company. And shout out to the beautiful Veronica Dunford.
They're such a great team. Dude.
They
Veronica's awesome. Mike Trasati's just a great dude. Just amazing people. Dealer Elite has been promoting us as well.
Are they?
So
I didn't know that.
About that.
That's cool.
Yeah. Jason Rice from Lot Pop's going to be out there. Owen Moon from Fixed Ops Digital. So we got everything from the front of the house to the back of the house covered.
Nice.
And here's the thing. I'm going to just say it right now on your podcast. Anybody that goes to rockstarinfo.com, okay? You go to rockstarinfo.com. First 10 people to go there, when you click on the ticket button, it'll take you to your ticketing page. Now, right now, we've been telling people, buy one, get one free. Mm-hmm. We want that room full. We have spent $17,000 on food and shit for the day. We want that room full of people. So here's the deal. First 10 people that go there that hear this, you can get a free ticket, even if you don't buy one. Whoa. Just choose the sponsor, speaker, guest ticket, add it to the cart, and boom, you're in. I want to tell you there are roughly 40 seats left to this. And next week, I'm going to be reaching out to all the local Harley-Davidson dealers in Nevada. Because I know that everything that Automax does, everything that Flick Fusion does, Flick Fusion, by the way, is powering the karaoke party at Dino's on Sunday night.
Karaoke, Anthony.
Yeah, Rockstar Karaoke, open bar from 7 to 11 for people to get down with the get down at the oldest lounge in Las Vegas.
Ah.
So that's powered by Slick Fusion, and we got lunch by Smart Payment Plan. Those guys are paying for lunch for everybody. And then Owen Moon and Pixops Digital is giving away a brand new iPad as well. So
Awesome.
here's the thing. Next time people go to rockstarinfo.com, click on the ticket link, just do a sponsored guest ticket, and we're going to use those Automax compliments of Automax tickets up for everybody right there. So
Yeah.
get your ass over to the site and book it.
Yeah, I was going to say that. So we're Automax can give away some of these tickets, right?
Give away as many as you want to your dealers.
Okay.
Up to 100 of them.
Okay.
And here's the thing. For those of you guys that are watching this show, don't be a sissy. Listen, the coronavirus, there are much more fun diseases you can catch in Vegas. So stop being afraid of the
Facts.
flu. Wear a ninja mask. Wear a
fact.
ninja mask. Get on a plane and get your butt to Las Vegas, and have a great time with us, learning how to make more money. I'm gonna tell you guys right now. In the 18 minutes that I am on stage, every dealer in that room will learn how to increase their sales by 50% within 12 months.
Oh.
It's a guarantee. Let me say it one more time. In the 18 minutes I'm on stage, every dealer in the room will learn how to increase their sales by 50% within 12 months. And guess what? If you don't learn that while you're there, come up to me and I'll give you your damn money back.
That's bold, dude. Those are bold words, young man.
Because I am a bold young man.
Yes, you are. You are bold. You're bolden. Well, Joe sent out his slides and his so forth to Ernie and I don't know, yesterday or the day before, and he said, "Yeah, I'm 19 minutes 30 seconds." I said, "Well, dude, I know Matt well enough to know you're gonna have to shave a minute 30 off of that thing because Matt's pretty vigilant at if he says 18 minutes, it's like you're gonna get the red light in the back of the room at the Comedy Store is gonna come up, and it's like you got to get off stage, so got to cut that thing down to 18 minutes. So it's pretty.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, really looking forward to it, man. We appreciate you. We appreciate what you do with these events. They're always awesome. They need to be better attended because, I've gone to, I don't know, it's countless. It's probably 150, even though I'm the youngest man in the car business, I've gone to probably 150 conferences over the course of my career. And no shit, yours is... The speakers have always been, like literally always been top notch. Now, every event there's really good speakers, and I would never, ever talk bad about literally any event because there's always good speakers at an event. But the consistency of the speakers at Rockstar events over the years have been top notch every single time. Absolutely no exclusion. Every single time they've been top notch, and I expect this to be the very same. And so, one more time, how do they sign up? Where do they go?
I'm going to pop it right in your comments right now, and if you want, you can put in the comment. They can go to rockstarinfo.com. They're going to see a ticket button right on there. When they click that ticket button, that will take them right to our Eventbrite ticketing page. And all they've got to do on Eventbrite is choose the ticket that says speaker sponsor guest, and that's their free ticket.
Awesome.
So they'll pay $0, compliments of Automax and Rockstar. Let's help people increase their sales, make more money, and let's make sure that we show Vegas what some great people look like.
That's right, man. I'm all about it. All about you. Love you, respect you, appreciate everything you do. Appreciate you being a sponsor of the Recruiter Podcast. And this thing,
you guys are the best, man.
Thank you. And the way this thing goes, it's weird. Tuesday's podcast up to I think we're at 6,000 views. But what happens is this thing, I don't know. It's weird. It's different than most. Facebook Lives, obviously this is an actual podcast, but it's like every day it builds audience. So, so people are it'll probably trickle in there with that first 10, maybe not, I don't know. But this thing, by tomorrow, I don't know, by the end of the show, there might be, 1,000 views maybe, but tomorrow there'll be 2,000, and then a week from now it'll be 5,000 or 6,000. So it's just kind of strange the way that happens. But yeah, so get folks, get on there, support that, go out, meet some new people, get lots of information. You got, I mean, and I'm sorry, are we? Is there 20? Are we talking about 20 speakers? Is that right? Is that
20 speakers in one day?
That's crazy. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah.
It is from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Man, we got light breakfast coming in. We've got an amazing lunch from Smart Payment Plan. Then at 7 o'clock, when the deal's over, people can go out, eat some giant Vegas buffet, and have a great time out there too. And by the way, seriously, I can't say enough. Awesome stuff that you guys are doing. Love the knowledge that you're sharing. I made a comment, one thing, and I want to say this. I want to give Anthony some props, man. Like, one of the things that I love about Anthony is how much he invests in the people that he trains. Anthony, like, genuinely, when we've talked before, he genuinely cares about everybody. Like, I won't answer the phone for you at 1 o'clock in the morning if you call me.
Right.
Doesn't matter what the reason is. I'm on Do Not Disturb. Good night. Enjoy your evening.
right?
I love that Anthony is willing to. I would not recommend it to anyone else in the world, by the way. But
Right.
it's just one more testament, though, to the fact that he loves the people he trains.
Yep.
And I think a lot of folks can learn from that. So kudos to you for doing that, Ant. Seriously, I know that a part of the reason people absolutely adore Anthony is because they know that he loves them in return, and that's pretty awesome.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
Yep.
You guys are the best.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Love you guys.
All right. Love you too, Matt. Have a good one, dude.
You too. Peace.
Awesome, right? That's cool. Good stuff. Good stuff. So, info at rockstar.com. Is that what it is? Yeah.
Rockstarinfo.
Rockstarinfo.com. I should just
bass
screwed up the whole deal there. That's not good. So, all right. So let's wrap up with onboarding here. So what? Let's give dealers. I don't know. Can you give them 3 very specific, short musts that would help them retain their people for in regard to proper onboarding?
Number 1, establish expectations right away.
Okay.
That's
So-
the first one.
In terms of hours, commitment, social media, here's what's expected of you, minimum standards, right? Is that what you're talking about, kind of?
Yes, but more specifically establishing the expectations of the onboarding process, because that's when you're going to lose people the most, is that first couple weeks.
You are.
Type of thing. So if you would give them all the information, I mean, a lot of times I'll interview somebody and, Anthony, listen, I'm not sure I can do this. I think I can, but the thing I loved about your ad was that you said free training.
Right.
It's like if you're willing to train me, I'm a fast learner. I hear that a lot from applicants.
Right. Yep.
So if you give them that opportunity, you're willing to teach them, they're willing to listen. Some people are all about knowledge, and they want to gain that knowledge to do that. And you build the confidence. So that would be the first step with establishing expectations. Number 2 is being consistent. Being consistent with your process and then what you're doing. If you're going to say something, and it goes back to my dad, Tony Santangelo. If you're going to, as my dad told me when I was 7 years old, my dad calls me Sonny, is what he calls me. And he says, Sonny, if you're going to do a job, do it right or don't do it at all. And the key is to do that. If you're going to do this the right way, then do it right, or don't do it at all, type of thing. So being consistent, what you say you're going to do it, would be the next thing. And then the last one is, take a TO. Take a TO with that new hire at the end of day 1, GSM or higher. So GSM, GM, owner. You don't have to sit there and spend an hour with them.
Or service manager, service director, or
yes.
Depending on the
correct.
Yes,
as
the
well. Service
department,
manager,
obviously.
service director. Yes,
Parts,
absolutely,
collision, whatever.
Absolutely. With a detail manager,
Right.
If you're a detailer, even your lotologist, take a couple minutes and talk to him or her.
Yeah, man.
Hey, what's going on? oh, this is really cool. I'm so stoked, man. This is like really cool. I can move these cars and everything. I'm like,
Right.
okay, great. That's awesome, buddy.
Well,
You know,
and
it's-
how many times in your career have you seen, you sold cars for what, 20 years? You were
Yeah.
in retail?
Mhm. Yeah,
How
just
many
under-
times have you seen somebody out of the detail department end up in the sales department?
Yeah.
I mean, it happens literally everywhere.
I mean, you're a perfect example of that. You started in detail.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
we've heard the war stories. We don't have to get into them more about the metal bearings. And,
No, we don't. We don't.
But yeah, I mean, you can start that way, and it's just take that TO and just talk to them.
And I just want to add one thing to that, and we'll move on to topics. But onboarding, it sounds like, okay, well, onboarding is a very specific initial amount of time, right? Onboarding. A day, a week, first month, first 90 days, whatever. However, in my opinion, onboarding never stops. If you want to reduce turnover in your store, look, I'm going to give you the reasons or the excuses that are used, and I'm going to give you the answer to daily training. There is zero doubt, and I don't think anyone could dispute the fact that if you held good daily training, I'm not talking about beat-up meetings, I'm talking about training, development meetings, every single day at your dealership, you'd A, sell more vehicles, make more money, and retain more staff. Would you and everyone listening agree with that? I mean, it's like more is better. However, here's what happens. And I've talked about this before at some point in the show, and I know I've talked about it on our videos on The Recruiter on our YouTube channel. Here's what happens. Dealers will say, and you mentioned it earlier, I don't have time. Okay? In my opinion, based on my personal experience, and then when I found a way to do it, I found out it was merely an excuse that I used on my part. It's not truly a matter of not having the time. It's a matter of not having the content that you feel is strong enough to bring to your troops every single morning. Because if you really said, okay, what brilliant stuff am I going to say today that's going to help people sell more cars, right? You run out of material. It's like a stand-up comic trying to do an hour set every day. It can't be done, It can't be done. It's literally impossible. So what it becomes is a bunch of noise, which turns into, hey, aren't you freaking listening to me? Which turns into a beat-up session, which in turn, in trying to do a good thing and ongoing developing these people, turns into a negative and people blow out because of it. So here's a way to change all this. Look at managers and the salespeople that are listening. You'll know that this is true, and you'll probably see a bunch of heads shaking out there. If we had cameras in your homes, and we might just do that at some point, have cameras in your home. When Elon Musk goes to Neuralink, we're going to put Neuralinks in all Automax Recruiting's new recruits' heads. So it's coming. So let me just get out of Alien for a minute. So here's how we do it. You walk into the room with zero preparation. You have a whiteboard maybe and markers, or a flip chart and markers, and that's it. And you come in there with a smile and a good attitude and be positive and happy. Then you merely ask your staff, did anyone have a situation yesterday that confounded them, that they weren't able to close, that people didn't buy? What are some scenarios that you experienced yesterday or before that's not a one-off, some ridiculous, because there's always that, crazy situation that's never going to happen again. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the ones that happen a lot, consistently. Missing party, okay? So-and-so wasn't there, so they couldn't buy the car because of that. One of those. Anybody in the room have one of those? Bang, hand goes up. Great. all right, Karen, tell us about the situation that you had yesterday. And she says, whatever. So-and-so was here, didn't buy a car because of, the second party wasn't here, missing party, what have you. And she lays out the situation. Great. Anybody else in the room have a similar situation to that, and how have you handled it? Bang, hand goes up. And another salesperson then says, well, here's what I do, or here's what I did. Anybody else in the room? Yeah, here's what I do when that happens. Anybody else? Yeah, here's what I... Now, Anthony, who's now training that team? You or the team?
Well, the team's working together.
Right.
You know, and you're engaging, so there's your content
right.
that you have.
Right, exactly. So and here's the trouble, because I think I can say this from experience. In full transparency, I always thought I was the greatest trainer in the world. Okay, and I did try to prepare daily training. However, it was impossible to do daily. So I would find an excuse to make up to call it off. Mm-hmm. And then I'd heard about what I'm talking about now being done, and I tried it, and it worked. And so set your ego aside, because here, ladies and gentlemen, let me assure you one thing. Your team turns you off. They just turn that volume off, and they're just sitting there, and they are not engaged. They don't care what you're saying. It's white noise coming out of your mouth. Or they flat out hate you, and they can't stand being in those meetings, and they're going to stop. Mm-hmm. Now, when you have everyone else participating, their peers, they are much more likely, it's absolute just basic human psychology, that they're more likely to listen to. If you and I are salespeople sitting in that room, I'm more likely to listen to you because you're on the front line. It just happened to you yesterday, last week, last month, whatever. I am way more far likely to, and you've had success with it. I'm more like, even if you're a 10-car person, I'm more likely to listen to you on a specific subject than I am the general manager, general sales manager, whatever manager. I'm more likely to listen to and try what you're suggesting than he or she.
Yeah.
It just happens every time. So now you have content daily. You don't have to worry about it. All you got to do is show up and facilitate it. Now, at the end of this, when it dies down, then you throw in, how about this? You know, you throw in your quote-unquote 2 cents. Mm-hmm. You wrap the meeting up. You go over any incentives, anything else, any cleanup that needs to be done, and bang, you're out there. Let's go get them. Stay safe out there, and let's sell some cars today. Let's go get them, boys and girls. And bang, you're done. If you have 2 shifts, you bring the second shift in. It's the same song and dance.
Right.
3 shifts, same song and dance, whatever the case might be. But that's the way you have daily training. That's the way you develop salespeople a long time. That's the way that you you retain people and you reduce your turnover. Yeah, you can do it with money. Throw a crap load of money at them, which you should do anyway. Yeah, you can have spiffs, which you should do anyway. But at the bottom line is that constant engagement, constant content, constant development of your team members is going to make a difference. We do it. We've done it on the Tuesday calls. I know Ernie, and I'm not on a lot of those calls, but Ernie, turns it over to the trainers. Mm-hmm. Hey, what's up, guys? What are you having issues with? This and that and another thing. Who's training them? The other trainers. Because I know for a fact that the training staff, you 20 folks, you get tired of hearing from me, Ernie, what have you. You're more likely, you spent a week with me, was it a week?
Yeah.
When we originally trained, a week with me, I guarantee you that you've learned more from your fellow trainers over the course of time in phone calls and interactions than you did from me and an obscene amount of hours that we spent together when I originally trained you. It's the information coming from people that are out in the field is much more valuable than a quote unquote trainer, in my opinion.
I agree. And when I do experience training, when I'm not doing new hire training, I'm doing experience training.
Right.
That's what I do. Listen, guys, ladies.
Oh, it's even strong.
I'm not here to try to reinvent the wheel, because here's the thing. I've sat in those seats and people have come in and I've tuned them out. So I get
Yep.
exactly what you don't want to hear.
Right.
I'm not going to do it. But here's the thing. I'm not some kind of fancy suit that can talk well. I can still sit and work a deal. And I'll go downstairs right now, and I'll desk a lease by hand with it, structure the deal, rehash the deal, do it, and do the test drive. And if detail gets backed up, I'll go back there and help clean the car. You know, so I'll sit and do that. So tell me, what can I help you with? This is the happy place, the safe place. So if you need to bitch a little bit, that's okay. I'm here for you. I'm here to, so we can talk about that. But I'm gonna let you bitch, but then I'm gonna try to give you some advice of how to handle that in a different way, so that way you can make more money and be more successful and work smarter versus harder. So if you are in a store that you have to have, normal schedule for the most part, 2 bell-to-bells, a late day and early day. You work every Saturday, and in the states that open Sunday, every other Sunday is a normal schedule across North America. Find a way to work harder where you're not working your day off as much, not staying late as much. I had a conversation yesterday. I left Long Island pretty late yesterday. Interviews took a little bit longer, and I had one of my new hires. I got hired a couple years ago. They needed me. And I sat there in the conference room for an hour, and I talked to them with that. And they were telling me again that they're working the day off every day. They're working 6 days a week. And, and they're telling me some things going on in their personal life that aren't going. I said, okay, we got to get you back to a 5-day work week again. But Aunt, I don't, this. I get it, I know, but this is what's hurting you here. This is why you're feeling the stress, why your numbers are down. This is why you have back issues, type of thing, because you're feeling that. So just trust me. Do you trust me? Of course I do. That's why I rely on you. Right? Okay. So you go that route. So it's important to do that. So you're understanding that person and you're engaging them. That's key. But here's the other side of it too. And this is one thing I've learned when I first joined Automax. When you get a lot of deals skated in the car industry, and for me being an appointment guy, I didn't take very many ups. When I was asked taken up, it usually was forget you, absolutely not, leave me alone, and I'm leaving some words out. I'm setting my appointments, and you get skated. You grow a hard heart. You have trust issues. You have ego issues. You have to do everything yourself. I'm still working on that, but I'm getting better at it. And Automax has taught me the team atmosphere of relying on other people. I think it's important as a growth, what's necessary in our stores is to understand that we can't do everything ourselves. There's not enough hours in a day, even if you work bell to bell every day, which I don't suggest, to be able to do everything in a store, working deals, doing appraisals, putting fires out in service, doing the advertising, doing interviewing, doing training, doing recruiting, answering the owner, CIT meetings, boom, boom, and on top of that, then you go home and you're exhausted, and then obviously then it's a wear on your relationship type of thing. You have to wave the right flag sometimes and say, I need some help. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. And to go back to the Automax trainers in our Tuesday conference call, and just in general, I wouldn't have had the success that I've had under the Automax umbrella if it wasn't for a lot of the Automax trainers helping me with no thought of any reward. One of them is Bobby Stevens. His mom just passed, and I went to the service this morning. Bobby's always there for me. And when I found out the service was here in Pennsylvania and I was going to be home, there was no way I was missing that. I wanted to go and support my dear friend. John Tracy's another one, So now I've taken it now as I've grown, and I reach out to other trainers that have started after me. I had a conversation with Lene Tarver this week, helping her with some different things, and she appreciated it.
She's awesome. Isn't she awesome?
She's phenomenal.
She is
phenomenal.
Else,
and Lene brings a different dynamic to our training staff, not because she's a lady, because of her service background,
right?
Type of thing. And she's a different background that way, which is pretty cool. John Huey has a little bit of service background as well. The international man of mystery, as I like to call him, So it's like you have that and you understand each other. Speaking of John Huey, John Huey and I are complete opposites in, appearance, personalities, all different things. But we share the same vision. We do. And we understand each other. And we help each other that way. You know, you're not going to see John jumping on camera singing karaoke. That's not John. And you're not going to hear me use these huge, crazy, large vocabulary words or have the humor that John does. You know, all I have to offer you is honesty and efficiency, as I have no good looks, as I told my customers over the years. You know, it's like you have that balance that way, so you grow. Melissa Skinner, same way. You know, Melissa, I like to tease and say, you know, she's that Woodstock Volkswagen bus, and she loves when I say this, you know, type of thing. I mean, she's a little bit of a hippie that she is.
Yeah, pretty
but
much.
You know, she is. You know, she's a free spirit.
Yeah.
But, you know, we share the same vision that way to help.
25-year car person, too. I mean,
Right.
She's been successful at
Very
every
successful.
level.
Right.
you know,
Every level,
trainer.
she has sat in every chair.
Yeah.
And she literally is the national car lady.
Yeah.
She absolutely is.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like you go through that, but then you move into the office. You know, the W-2s, as I like to say. You know, the actual employees of Automax. It's important to give them the support. I talk to Shelly Buck a lot, who is setting records at Automax, like month after month. I'm not exaggerating here. Like the last 3 months, she has set a record for most technicians hired ever in a month at Automax, and then broke it in January and broke it again in February. And she already is on pace. Based, what's today, March 6th, right? Today's the 6th. She's already on pace to crush February if she keeps going on pace what she's done the first week, type of thing. You know, so we talk about the different technician campaigns that I've brought to Automax and all that and everything. But I let her know, hey, I'm here and all that. And then she's, well, the service manager said this, that. What do you think, Ant? And I give her my opinion. Oh, okay, it's awesome. You know, Danielle Burke, who in my opinion is the best in-house executive recruiter in the universe. She absolutely is. You know, somebody mentioned on here, I have a big heart. You think I have a big heart? Danielle Burke, that big heart. You know, she does it all. I mean, she really does. You know, and she's really come out of her comfort zone. I give her a lot of credit doing these Facebook Lives. And the knowledge is there, and you got to tune in. You got to tune in with that. So yesterday, I knew she was going live at 1 o'clock. So we were texting Wednesday. So I'm going to go live at Thursday at 1. I said, okay, I'm teaching my class. I stopped training. I said, hold on. I want you to watch her.
Yeah.
So I had the training class watch Danielle, and then I said, hey, you know Jane that's at your interview or our in-house recruiter? Yeah. Well, that's Jane's daughter. That's Mama Jane's daughter. You know, type of thing, you know, and then Mama Jane, you know, it's like I made a post today about, you know, being that Bobby lost his mom, you've lost your mom, Craig, I've lost my mom. You know, take the time if you have your mom still here, let her know how much you love her. But also, if your biological mom or the adopted mom or whatever is not here anymore, let the people know that are moms in your life how much you appreciate them. And I let Mama Jane know that because she's like a mom to me. You know, she is. So it's important to do those things.
Yep.
That's the culture you need to develop from an onboarding, from a training standpoint. Now, when you do that and you show people that you care about them, now they're willing to hear you. Now you've earned the right to speak into their life. And now you can talk to them and you can challenge them and help them grow because they see that you care about them. That's the difference. You put the time in. Put the time in that way. My time is yours, right? Now when you do that, they care. And now when it's time to have that hard conversation, they're more receptive. You've done that with me. You've shown me that you care about me. You've taken time. So in the times I've had to have hard conversations that we've had in the past, I've been receptive of it versus tuning my ears out and saying, you know what, the old guy's wrong. No, I listen. I listen to understand because he has showed me that. Does that make sense? You know, I mean, I hope it understands that from an audience standpoint. You know,
Right. And that takes care of the Automax recruiting commercial, so we don't have to do a read on that. But I appreciate it.
The point I'm making, I mean, this is our team. So it's like, you know, you want to develop a team in a dealership. So this is our team that you go that route. And I've missed people. I mean, Joanna does everything for everybody, and Brendan is our little buddy. You know, her son, and she's awesome and always there. Our controller Jody. You know, I've always said it, and I'll say it to the day I die: the peanut butter and jelly of Automax. You know. Holds it together, you know, and the days that she doesn't, we're there to support her.
Yep.
You know, and that's what it's about. So,
yep. I appreciate that. And speaking of timing and so forth, it is time to thank another sponsor. We'll get a couple of these out of the way and then continue the conversation because we want to get on just a couple other points here. But next friend of the program that I want to talk about is our crazy awesome people, friends at Tacoby. Tecobi.com, TECOBI. Jason Gardner, Mr. Dan Webb, Scarlett. And I mean, I don't even know how many people they have yet. If someone wants to put a number in there, we just did a remote.
It's over 50 employees. I think I saw a post.
How many what?
I think it's over 50.
Oh, it could be 50, yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I apologize, Jason, if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I thought for sure I saw something about a few weeks ago. That
You
he
could
has
be
over
right,
50.
dude. I mean, and a year ago was probably 5. I mean, and they are killing it. And, anybody that follows Jason will see that he posts probably minimum of 10 times a day. And a lot of his posts, they're interesting. They run the full gambit between buying a Rolls Royce and returning it to buying his next crazy car.
Nissan GTR.
Right. What is it? What do you buy?
A Nissan GTR.
Yeah, GTR.
Which is a cool vehicle. I've sold 5 of them in my life.
What do those cars run? With all
at this point, $140.
Yeah.
I believe they are.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty cool blue one he has. Which is neat.
So Jason's not shy in spending money or talking about how well they're doing in terms of revenues and so forth. And people can look at that, and some people do, and it's been mentioned to me. It's like, why is this guy bragging this and that? Look at here. Here's the way I see it. They make a crap load of money. Tecobi does. A bunch. And they're growing. And I mean, they make a bunch of money. Now, the reason they make a bunch of money is because a bunch of dealers have looked into their product and services and have discovered, oh, crap, here is a ton of leads. Here's how I should have been doing business for years. We've heard so much lately about car gurus and the bullshit that they go through or went through with Carvana, and I don't want to get into that whole mess, but, all the third-party lead providers. Look, in my opinion, for what it's worth, 48 years in the business, if I'm an owner of a dealership, if I'm a general manager, I'm looking at 3 things to create business for my business. I'm looking at social media and full engagement from all of my employees, for sure. Yep. Very strongly. Just sidebar for a minute. You've been with how long have you been with us? 3?
I'm in my 4th year.
4th year? 4 years before that? Not probably longer than that, crap. 10 years I've been talking about social media with the team, right? And it hasn't been the last, it's improved over time, but the last 6 months, last 3 months has really been quite different and a lot better. And golly gee whiz, our revenues have gone up. Isn't that interesting? More social media engagement from more people, revenues go up. Geez, our products and services get better? Yeah, maybe a little bit. What's that?
Frank Lopes was calling me.
Frank Lopes?
Yeah.
Hey, Frank.
So I'm about to call Frank back. I'll shoot him a quick
Yeah,
text.
Frank. Frank. You should be watching the podcast. We watch yours.
Well, he's at dealers right now.
Oh, he's at a
He's at
dealership?
dealers. Yeah.
Okay.
I guarantee this is a transaction. But
Probably. Frank Lopes is awesome, man. Yeah. What's the name of this company? The 2 initials in
FB
digital?
Digital.
Digital. Yeah. Let me get a plug out there for our buddy Frank. He is just awesome person, great guy. But back to Tecobi. The reason they're doing so well is because they perform for their dealers. Oh, to go back to the 3 different ways that I'd look for leads. Social media, no-brainer. Absolutely, positively. Your CRM, in the service department, your CRM, your database, it's got to be worked. It's got to be monetized, period, end of story. The third is Facebook. It's just, it's simple. It's a fact. It's a fact. And even though, one of our sponsors is an absolute super friend of mine, and they do a great job, and that's Dealer World, and they're a full-blown advertising agency. Tecobi is not. Tecobi focuses on one thing, and one thing only, and that is Facebook. And man, I'm going to tell you what, there ain't nobody better at that than what they do. So now here's the key to using Tacoby, as far as I know, and Dan or Scarlett, Jason, correct me if I'm wrong. They will, when you make a decision to do business with Tacoby, they're going to tell you how to be successful, how to do this right, the right way. And they're going to be very specific and very strong in how they tell you to, once you're onboarded, on how to proceed. Now, here's the thing. You got a choice. Either, you have to go out for a minute?
Frank.
Okay, go ahead, yeah. You have a choice once you do. You decide to do business. You know, you talk to Dan Webb, and you go ahead and agree, and you send him some money, and bang. Ladies and gentlemen, do what they tell you to do, step by step, very specifically. Do not try to make this stuff up as you go along. They have a very specific, tried and true method, and if you follow that method, you follow that process, it will blow your mind, the additional amount of business that you get. Now, and that leads to something else. Then you'll need to call Automax, and you'll need to have more people in your store. So, but I mean, seriously, you will. Just call Tacoby. Hook up with Dan on Facebook or wherever, LinkedIn, he's everywhere. Jason's pretty much on Facebook, period, but Jason Gerdner. But reach out to them, go through a demo, and my babies, I got to tell you, you will be glad that you did, absolutely, positively, for sure. So make sure that you do that. It's really important. So, and while I'm in a ad reading sort of mood here, our other sponsors just, I don't know, we're so blessed. You know, I keep saying this, but these are friends of ours. So, Automotive HR, Stephen Warner is the CEO. Just go to automotohr.com. Auto, A-U-T-O, Moto, M-O-T-O, all one word, HR.com. Career branded websites. You know how on your website you have a career tab? Okay. Unless you're hooked up to a third party like Automotive HR, and there are some competitors. Hierology is a competitor. Big company, huge company, big building in Chicago, tons of employees, tons of overhead. AutomotiveHR's.com's technology is more flexible, can be changed in a moment. Very, 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 very smart people. Not that everyone else is not smart, but it's constantly evolving. A lot of the revenues that come into Automotive HR are put right back into research and development and improving the quality of the product, and it's amazing. It is amazing. We talked about it a little before. Dixie, come on back in here. Dix, come here. We talked about it a little before about electronic onboarding. Automotive HR, done. Don't have to worry about it. Compliance, initial onboarding, job postings, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, bang, done. The ads put out in I think it's over 100 languages. So, I mean, you know, you want to talk about diversity, you're covered. The own applicant tracking system, multiple users in the store, unlimited users in the store. It's ridiculous. It's something that Automax uses. So, you know, Anthony mentioned it earlier. In the dealer, there's a dealer review, video review yesterday, and it's like, you know, and the guy literally said something along the lines of, "Hey, I get one applicant every 3 months." I think that's a quote. And I don't know how many applicants we had on that deal. It's probably, exceeded 100, I'm sure. And then we vetted through those and probably, I don't know, I'm guessing here. I don't remember what the actual data, the tally sheet was, but I don't know, probably 40 interviews. We vetted through those, and I think he ended up turning over. Well, yeah, Anthony just said I think the dealer hired 11 people, big growing store. So, that's part of the reason on how we find so many of these people, and we find the top talent for the dealership that you can tap into. So, it's important, and that way, as a dealer using Automotive HR, you can end up building your own talent network, which is super important. It's like a database. It's like your CRM full of potential new hires and employees. So go to Automotive HR, or you can reach out to my son, Joe Lockard, Director of Operations at Automax, at 800-878-5090. He can hook you up. Mention the Recruiter Podcast, and if you reach out to Stephen at Automotive HR or someone at Automax, mention the words "The Recruiter Podcast," the Recruiter Podcast, and you'll save $1 or $2. Can't save a lot because it doesn't cost a lot. But you mentioned the Recruiter Podcast, and you get a little savings there. So, end of sponsors for today. So, I wanted to talk about some other things. Oh, the lovely and talented Joanna Weber from Automax and Jody Atkins from Automax just jump on. Ethan Rawson, hey, dude. Hey, and hey, Ethan, if you're still on and listening, I just saw today you started a podcast, and off the top of my head, I cannot remember I liked it. I haven't listened to it yet, but go ahead and feel free to go ahead and put the link into your podcast in there. That'd be awesome. You're more than welcome to do that. And Ethan is Ethan, used car director, I think, right, in Massachusetts. And matter of fact, he participated in the show here, it was last week or the week before, when I had some people call in about, it's the show we did about worst stories in first car sales and so forth. So Ethan called in and did that one. So, but Ethan, go ahead and feel free to put in your podcast there. That'd be cool.
Ethan Rawson?
Yeah, he's got his own podcast. He just started.
Awesome.
So yeah,
good job, Ethan. Way to go, buddy.
Yeah, so he'll. I told him to go ahead and put that in there. So our sponsor reads are over with. I know you wanted to talk a little bit today about. There's two things I want to get to. The one I'm even a little unsure of because I don't want to piss anybody off, but I want to address it about reciprocating in terms of social media. But yeah, you wanted to talk about BDC training a little bit today, didn't you, dude?
I did.
You did?
Absolutely.
Do you still want to?
I do.
Okay, then.
I absolutely want to do
well, you don't have to yell at me. Nice seg, man.
Still your avid trickster for kids.
What false news I've been on the whole time? Oh, I'm sorry, Jody. Okay. All right, girl. Jody, stop yelling at me. Why is everybody yelling at me? I'm so nice to all y'all. I don't know why you would yell at me.
Just be used to Jody yelling at you.
Matt's back on. It's just all right. Well, you folks are awesome.
It's an Italian thing. So.
Yeah. Again, share this out to groups, whatever. Man on the street. Jody, go distribute this to, what's that called? Where do the homeless live in L.A.? What's that called? Something City. What's that called? Crap.
Haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, go ahead and distribute that to there. What the heck is that called? What's that called, Adam, where all the homeless people in L.A. live? Shoot, I forget. What is that called? Something City.
It's all right. Buys time for the
homeless.
Speaking of onboarding, I'm actually taking care of some onboarding right now for a client.
What is that called? What is that called? Something City or something, isn't it?
I'm not real sure what you're talking about there, Craig.
What's the Tent City? Is that it, Matt? Is that what that's called?
Might be.
I thought it had some other name.
Is that what like Skid Row is?
Yeah, Skid Row. That's what I'm looking for.
Skid Row.
Skid Row. That's where people said I'd end up in my life early on Skid Row. You were wrong. Na, 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 na. Yeah, Skid Row. All right. Awesome. So, all right. So, let's see. We're going to talk about reciprocation in terms of social media here in a bit, but you wanted to talk a little bit about BDC training. What do you want to talk about? Now, keeping in mind, we have friends in the BDC training world.
We do.
And people that we suggest. Anthony Alagona, who's been on the show, he's a friend of the program, a friend of ours personally, does an awesome job for dealers across the country. I've personally been friends with Elise Kephart for years, and she's killing it in the BDC world.
Bobby.
Missing people here.
Bobby.
Bobby Herring. Bobby, I've sent you the invite. You said you're going to be on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull that invite pretty soon, girl. And don't turn me over to your freaking assistant. I don't want to talk to your assistant. I don't talk to assistants.
That's her sister.
Yeah, so
She has her phone cloned.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
all right, Bobby, get on the podcast. This is the last time I'm asking you.
just message Chelsea directly.
Right. So we have good. There's some just all. Who else am I missing? Oh man, I'm missing some BDC people. Oh, Mitchell,
Jennifer Breaks.
Yeah, Jennifer, BDC Raw is coming up.
Josh Mitchell, obviously,
Yeah,
he's
Josh.
in the trench,
Yeah.
but he
Yeah,
fantastic BDC manager.
He
He's-
is,
he's
right?
He's in the trench. Good guy.
yeah, he should be on the show, right? Or he should come on.
Yeah,
the podcast. You've been on his.
I've been
right?
on his show. I was on his
Right.
show when I was in California. That was a crazy morning. Oh my goodness, that day was just crazy. I'm trying to get it all settled in, this and that, and everything. I took the time. And,
This cheese is awesome, isn't
The
it?
cheese is good. Yes.
Yeah. It's Joanna. Ask Joanna. I don't know where she got it, but she paid a fortune for it. Oh, Anthony Alagona. We were just talking about you, dude.
Well, Matt just tagged him. Yeah. So.
Okay, gotcha. But Anthony, we were just talking about what a great job you do, and I know you're actually. I don't know all the details, but I know that you're going to be doing in-house outsourcing BDC for dealerships across the country.
Yeah, he just rented a big facility in Jersey, and I think he's hiring some people as well. Anthony is, and
I believe he paid us $1 bazillion to help him staff that place. So
that's always exciting.
I'm waiting for the $1 bazillion check, though, Anthony. So I'd like to be able to retire here soon, Anthony. So if you could help me with that, I sure would appreciate it. But Anthony Alagona, real deal, results. Guy's got passion like you've never seen before. If you don't follow Anthony Alagona on Facebook or online, you should, because you also get to see his awesome pit bull run with him on the beaches of New Jersey, which is always pretty cool. My favorite is when your dog gets Zeus, right? Is it? I think Zeus. Is that his dog's name?
Pretty sure I think it's Zeus.
Yeah, I love when he tears down trees, man. I mean, his dog carries like freaking trees. Jaws of death. So, but yeah. Anthony's. Oh, that's right. Alagona's going to be speaking at Rockstar too. So go to rockstarinfo.com. See Anthony Alagona as well in a TED Talk. So, okay, so pontificate on BDC training, Mr. Santangelo. Where do you want to go with that, dude?
Well, it's and obviously we have some friends that do BDC training, but we're involved too at Automax. That's my background, actually. 14 of my 19 years, I did internet, cradle to grave. I did it, with it. So what that means, if people don't know, obviously taking the lead and you follow up with everything right until they go right into the box, into the finance office.
Yeah, I wonder how prevalent that is today as compared to flat-out appointment setters.
It's interesting because over the last 10 years or so, they've been doing more of the appointment setters in the BDC, and it has opened up a different dynamic of applicants where they're afraid to maybe go into the trench to sell cars, but working the phones and texting and having a small salary with a pay per show and a pay per sold has made them feel more comfortable. For those that don't need to make $150,000 a year type of thing, if they're okay making 40-ish, 50, 38, somewhere in there, type of thing.
Oh, yeah, Mike Phillips, too. Thanks, Matt. Sorry, Anthony.
On it so, with it so. But
Mike Phillips actually an Automax graduate.
Yes.
20 years ago. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's But it's coming a little bit more of a comeback of working leads. I have spoken to some stores that are passing out the leads more
to the
salespeople
on the floor.
Yeah. So I mean, the big key is consistency and using voice text, using video text. I mean, there's different things. When I did this, I refused to text message. I didn't start text messaging until 2016. I had it blocked on my phone. I called Sprint and had it blocked. I was wrong. I absolutely was wrong for it.
Yeah.
Just like I didn't fake book until January 2017.
I want to talk to you about text, email, phone call, because that, excuse me, it seems to be a controversy right now. I have thoughts on it, and I want to see what yours are. But go ahead. But I think that's real important, because if you're only go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's just important to be able to understand that and to understand the way of communication that a buyer wants to. They go online, they research, they're looking at, they put an inquiry online for a car, looking for a specific thing, looking for information. You have to be flexible in how you communicate. It's getting smaller and smaller, the people that want to pick up the phone and talk. That is what always my preference was. I've made those adjustments in my life now, where it's like you do via text. Also, you want to be able to, I'm sorry, my phone's blowing up right now with people, but you want to be able to understand when you're talking to them, and you don't have to set with one set way of getting an appointment in. You have to be able to say, okay, how is it the customer, what's the best for them? And if the best for them is to do things a little bit backwards, okay, let's be flexible this way. I was having this conversation with Mike Ladowitz, who's a former GSM of mine, and big shout out to him, speedy recovery. He had fallen this past week and broke a couple ribs and hurt his leg. So big shout out to him and his wife, Heidi. But Mike, we talked about this the week prior before he had fallen, about changing the way of doing business a little bit. If somebody comes in, they want their car appraised first, okay, it's not every time, but if someone's adamant about it, okay, then just do it. No big deal. I'm not saying change your system and do that all the time, so don't get me wrong, but there's exceptions to the rule. And understand. Same way when I say look for reasons to hire versus reasons not to. Look for reasons to earn the right to set the appointment and have them show up versus reasons not to. Well, I can't do this or I can't do that. And part of that is empowering the person working your leads. When you call a lead, okay, I got all the information. I have to get my manager and I'm going to give you a call back or text you back. You're losing the sizzle of that. And that's one of the things I try to pride myself on is having the information right away, being efficient. Getting on top of it so they don't have to get back. You shouldn't be different that way. If they inquire about a specific pre-owned car, do a video on it, 90 seconds or less, not more or less, of the video, and send it to them. They can watch it in their pajamas at nighttime at 2 in the morning. And then they see that and say, wow, I'm different than my competition. These are some of the things I teach on when it comes to internet and BDC. And again, I did it. It's something that I did for a long time. I still sell cars. I actually have an appointment tonight. I did with a previous customer of mine, So I mean, it's one of those things, and a lot of it's been being done via Facebook Messenger, because they follow me on Facebook, and they won't go into my store I last worked at without me being there. I said, okay, no problem. Here's my schedule. I can do it Friday night. No big deal. So that's what you want to do and understand your buyers. That's kind of the things I want to talk about a little bit with internet and BDC.
Lead comes into the dealership.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the percentages are, but when a person goes online and attaches him or herself to a wherever the lead source might be, because they don't typically know where they're going a lot of times. I don't know how many people flat out go to TrueCar, go to Cars.com, go to AutoTrader. I'm not sure, Car Gurus or what. I'm not sure how often they go right there, but that lead, that person is going to get sold off immediately, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to get bombarded with phone calls from dealers that pretty much receive that lead within probably 10, 15 minutes of each other, correct?
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
if I'm a potential buyer, I don't know that I'm going online unless I haven't already made a decision to purchase a vehicle in the relatively near future.
Not necessarily.
Yeah. Well, even it could be 6 months from now.
Yeah,
To
I
me,
mean,
that's
they're going exploring. They could have saw an advertisement on ESPN.com. They saw something that was
Could
from
be.
Cars.com or car, whatever, type of thing, and they tap onto it. Oh, that kind of looks cool a little bit. And for more information, click here. Some people don't understand that, and they don't know if someone's going to call them right away, and they get freaked out.
right, and they will not answer the phone.
Right.
And there's no way, and especially because typically it's going to be out of the area code, so there's no way that call is getting picked up. And now these scammers have become so, and geez, I shouldn't say that because a lot of BTC companies are using local lines. But however, there are a lot of scam calls coming in, at least to my phone from my area code. So my point is, I do not personally, I do not pick up the phone unless that person's in my phone. I do not answer it. Period. End of story. It goes to voicemail.
Most people are
and
like
I have
that,
a block on my phone anyway. Yeah. But I will not do it. So the only way to communicate to me ultimately, now, what do we want to end up doing? We want to get them on the phone, right?
Ideally, you want the best form of communication, face to face, than the telephone.
Well, of course.
And then text, voice text, video text, whatever. It's email is last. Not that you shouldn't be sending emails. You should.
Yeah.
The key is you want to figure out what's going on with them and understand. Talk about if you have a program for veterans, put in the initial introduction. Hey, did anybody in your immediate family serve our country? Type of thing. You're looking for interaction. The whole key is to get them to want to respond back to you. You're asking them certain open-ended questions, but you're here to provide information to be open book. Because when you're just dealing with letters and numbers and there's no personality involved, you're no different. That's why the efficiency is important. Working those leads are important. Our guest on the show Tuesday, Jade. Okay, Jade's an Automax graduate in Canada. Put up 27 deals in February in Canada where they sell fewer cars than we do in the United States. We talked about internet a little bit. And she said to me, Aunt, I will sit there and I will respond to a customer at midnight when she's home. She's in the business 5 months, but the efficiency is there. Yeah. The emotional intelligence is there of this young lady. Yeah. So that's what you want to do. So teaching that is important. Well, I have a life to live. Oh, okay, I get it. But you know what? That's the key. In Pennsylvania, you're closed on Sundays. One of the reasons why I got a lot of shows and a lot of people coming in to see me was I'd sit there on Sunday and attack the leads when the rest of the dealers were closed, sleeping it off from Saturday night sometimes, some of my competitors. Right. I don't drink at all. And I went in there and I attacked the leads and got appointments for Monday, type of thing. Just being different is the key. And, and again, I'm teasing there a little bit, so don't want to take offense there,
right.
But
well, I think, in my opinion, I'm going to be texting people. There's a lot of different ways you can go here. Because these people are going to get bombarded by phone calls. Typically, they're not going to pick up. Even though they submitted a lead, they don't know a lot of times what that actually means. So they're going to get bombarded, probably ignore it. Mm-hmm. All right. So let's say they don't ignore it. Let's say you call them. It's going to go to voicemail. Do you leave a voicemail or don't you leave a voicemail?
Always leave a voicemail.
There's a couple ways to go there. I would agree. You leave a voicemail. I don't know that you leave a second. I think you leave one.
You don't leave 2 voicemails in one day.
Yeah, I don't. I agree with that. I think voicemails, and I mean, we have to do it at Automax a lot. We have to call people. We have to call
Joe and I
dealers.
talked about this as I was driving up here. I was on the phone with Joe, and we were talking about the phone calls.
Yeah, it's difficult, man.
Yeah.
It's a real booger. It's tough to get a hold of a dealer or a decision maker at a store without leaving a voicemail. Mm-hmm. To leave half a dozen voicemails probably ain't happening. But I think if you could broad stroke the thing, and you mentioned it, and I think that's true, you have to communicate with the customer in a way in which they're most comfortable communicating. However, to begin with, you don't know what that is oftentimes. Mm-hmm. So one thing that does bother me is the number of people that say email's dead. Email's not dead. Email's just not dead. Right. However, it's got to have an attractive subject line. It can't be a book. In my opinion, it should have video in it, without a doubt. and it's got to be straight to the point. And it can't be your only source, but I don't think it's a dead source at all. Like at all. I know just personally from our business, we get a lot of leads from our email blasts that we do. And we have a very specific plan. Brian Stroker, our marketing director, has a very specific plan that has worked very well for us. That involves a lot of email. And, our list is good, obviously, but I would assume the dealer's list is pretty strong too. But so I think email is part of it. But I really think you got to go from, it seems as though, broad stroke, and this can be argued to the end of time. You start with a phone call, probably going to have to leave a voicemail like we just discussed, and then I think you got to go to text. Yeah. However, with the goal in mind of getting them on the damn phone.
Yeah.
To be able to set the appointment to either have them come in the store or you go to them.
You're standing out and being different than your competition.
I think.
And that's the key. So, you start out, the lead comes in, 2020, any make, any model. It might have a specific stock number, or it might just say, SL with a tech package. Now you get the phone call, and the voicemail comes in with it. So, what type of voicemail are you going to do? Hey, Craig, Anthony Santangelo, ABC Motors. Thank you so much for the opportunity on your inquiry for the 2020 any make, any model. I'm here to serve to give you all the information you need to make a decision best for yourself and your family. When you get a moment, give me a call back. I'm going to shoot you a text as well. I'm flexible. However you're comfortable communicating with me, I'm available for you as my time is yours. My number is 267-784-9752. I look forward to hearing back from you however you're comfortable. Thank you. Click. 35 seconds. That's what you want to be able to do when it comes to that. So the tonality is there, just like when we interview. We have 4 people filling an application at the same time. What do I say? You like baseball? No? Yes? Great. Okay. Well, they're up next. You're on deck. You're in the hole. You're batting clean. I'm going to knock them all in, okay? I promise to give you 100% attention you absolutely deserve. I promise. Just hang tight for me a little bit, all right? Are you right-handed or left-handed? Great. Need some lefties with a bullpen? We got some right-handed power bats. Outstanding. I'll be right with you. You follow me. And that's exactly what I do in stores. Right. So that way that fourth person doesn't think, oh, my God, I'm not getting hired at all. He's going to be so tired and won't even talk to me afterwards. Yeah. No. Yeah. So that's the different type of thing. So you're being different than your competition. I'm priding myself to be different than a different recruiter and trainer than other people out there. You want to be different as an internet manager or BDC representative as well.
Right. I agree 100%. You have to be different. And there is a very distinct correlation between recruiting people and answering people that are responding to people that respond to your Help Wanted ad. It's very similar to a BDC and a customer. It's crazy. You're running a Help Wanted ad at the dealership for a position. Mm-hmm. The person applies. If you sit on that thing, don't reply, they're gone. All of a sudden, they're a ghost. No different than a BDC lead. Yep. Right? I mean, you don't get back to them in whatever the time is. It's got to be fast. Mm-hmm. They're a ghost, man. You might as well forget about that deal. That's never happening. In recruiting, you have to get back to them not only quick, but with a very unique message. Yeah. Same in the BDC. Got to be a unique message, which we just discussed.
And you have to multitask, which is what I'm doing right now, because I'm taking care of a client as I'm doing this podcast and talking, but I'm still fully engaged at the same time. And I'm messaging back and forth from their onboarding process for tomorrow to get the proper information with that. I'm working a transaction as well, So that's what you want to do, Right. Some multitask and do things at the same time.
Right. So they're they're both very unique, how they're very similar. But the point is, with that BDC lead, you got to get back to them. You got to get back to them quick. Ultimately, get them. The ultimate goal is get them in the building, or one thing that drives me crazy, go to them. Right. It's a constant. And I wish some of you BDC trainers out there would. And maybe you're doing this. I just don't see it. Please, let's get away from get them in. When can you come in? This afternoon or this evening? The get them in thing drives me crazy. Why don't we go to them? Let's go to them.
We do that too. Yeah.
You want to blow Carvana out of the water? Go to them. It's the old Sam Kinison joke. People starving out in the desert. Go to where the freaking food is. Stop living in the desert. Go to the food. Make it convenient for your customer. Right. Go to their work. Go to their home.
It's like Burger King. Have it their way. They have it their way. Whatever
right,
it is,
man.
Just whatever it is.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I'm talking about 40 years ago. I sold a crap load of cars, and half of them were not sold at the dealership. I went to where people were. You go to somebody's place of employment. I'm going to tell you, somebody proved me to be a liar and just put it all over wherever. Lockard's wrong. I'm telling you, next 10 clients, you take the car, and here's the way you set it up. Hey, I don't know if I can do this or not. Let me run it by my manager, but I'm going to attempt to, in order to save you time, because I know your time's valuable. I want to be convenient to you and do something that no other salesperson is going to do. I'm going to see if it's okay with management if I bring a vehicle out to your place of work. What time do you have? 10, 15 minutes to blow out of your office for lunch or whatever? 1 o'clock. Great. See you then. You can bet me that when you arrive with that car, that person is going to bring a coworker out with him or her.
Yep.
Now listen to the psychology of this. And if those of you that replay, because this thing gets replayed 5,000, 6,000 times anymore, it seems, the peer pressure on the potential buyer is enormous.
Yeah.
They've brought another coworker outside to look at a car. You're not going to sell, let's say you don't, and the chances are very strong, you're not going to sell the car right then and there. It doesn't matter. What's going to happen, you leave, you take the car away from them, you bring it home, all right? You've shown them a puppy dog, a cute little puppy, and now you're taking it away. They want the puppy back, right? Now they go in the building, and it's the next day. The person that came out with the potential buyer is going to say, hey, what's up with that car that car salesperson brought out to us yesterday? What are you doing about that? You buying that car? That's peer pressure. That's just plain, very simple human psychology.
Yeah.
That person's going to have to do something.
Absolutely.
Because, if you're doing a proper job of following up, I'm not only going to follow up the potential buyer, but I would have already introduced myself and carded the other person that was there, and I'm going to call them too. Hey, listen, it was really nice meeting you. I know you came outside with your friend Anthony from ABC Manufacturing, and it was real nice to meet you. And I want to make sure that I'm available to you. If you know, friend, neighbor, relative, coworker, ever looking for a vehicle, we have a referral system here, yada, yada, yada. You can really double down on that, man. And
Frank Crenetti's first car sale back in 2001, actually 20 years ago. No, I'm sorry, it was 2000? Yeah, I think it was March of 2000. It was either March of 2000 or March 2001 he started in the car business. His first car sale, he sold the car, and then the guy who was shadowing, he walked up to the desk with the veteran guy was sitting there talking to the desk manager. Hey, I just sold another one. What are you talking about?
I heard about that.
Yeah.
It was a 3-car deal.
I think it was a 2-car deal.
Was it?
Oh, and but he sold it, and the veteran sales guy was like, yeah, you're full shit.
Right.
No, we wanted to make the deal.
Right.
So all you had to do is ask.
Yeah. That's right.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's
so
right.
you ask that, and the peer pressure. I mean, it's amazing what the peer pressure of a workplace environment can be at times. So it's like you go through that, and it's like you show them that, bring it to them. It's most of the time you're going to end up closing the deal because you're going out and being different, and now you're making an impression on the whole organization.
Yeah.
Which is because you're going back to being different.
Right. Yeah. Be unique.
Yeah, and it's not, and you could be different in a crazy way as well.
Right.
And
right.
it's okay, but people remember you.
Right.
There's people that used to walk into the store and they say, I don't remember the guy's name, but he's a little bit heavy and he plays poker. Oh, you're looking for Santangelo. Oh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So they do that.
Right.
I worked with Anthony Capello, who is a phenomenal salesperson. The story he's broken my records at my last dealership. I nicknamed him the good-looking Anthony, and I was the smart Anthony. And people would come in at times, and they'd ask for the good-looking Anthony or smart Anthony because we both go by Anthony because both of our fathers are Tony. And we didn't want to switch to Tony, either one of us. So that's what we did. So it's being different, and you make people laugh, make them feel comfortable. If they make them laugh, they're comfortable. And if they're comfortable, they're buying from you. Facts.
Right. All right, let's wrap the BDC thing up, and then I want to talk about something. And hey, Mike Phillips, I'm glad you jumped on because it's gonna. I was debating on whether to talk about this today or not, but now that you jumped on, I'm just going to briefly talk about it, and then I'm going to go into this more in detail next week on next week's podcast. I might, I don't know, I might do a solo next week. I'm not sure yet, but at any rate, just to wrap up what Anthony's saying in some BDC, we don't claim to be BDC gurus.
However, it's not our number one thing we do.
Right. However, we can, will, and do recruit straight for BDC departments, and we can initially train BDC departments. So if you need that kind of thing, want to do it for reasonable money, contact Automax, contact Anthony, and we'll get you hooked up. But the one thing I wanted to talk about here is reciprocating on Facebook or on social media. And Mike, you're on, and in full transparency, and this is something, and I'm going to ask you to do something here in a minute if you don't mind. Mike has a show that he does, and Mike, I apologize. I could look it up easy enough, but I don't recall the name of your show, but it's an awesome show. It's an awesome podcast. If you would, feel free to go ahead, Mike, and put the link to your podcast, to your show in the comments. And what I'm asking you folks to do is support Mike Phillips. Is what I mentioned, I think, before you jumped on, was an Automax grad, I don't know, 800 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, probably, I'm guessing maybe 18 or 19 years ago, Mike went through, answered an ad, went through the training, and boom, he's 18, 19, 20-year vet. But go ahead, Mike, and put in the link to your podcast in the comments here. And folks, I would urge you or ask you to go ahead and engage with Mike and watch his show as well. In Anthony's, Did You Hire Him Dead, Kill Him After You Got Him? Which I don't know that you need to put yours in there. Freaking everybody in the world knows about that show. But here's the deal.
People know how to find me.
Right.
If they want to.
Right. Here's the deal. The front. That's right. YouTube channel. Okay, good. Thanks, Mike. Very good. So, folks, please, this thing ultimately, Mike, I don't know, by next week this time, this show will have gained, 5,000, 6,000 views or something on Facebook. Still haven't figured out YouTube, dude. I don't know who does, other than you're welcome, man. It's also on Apple Podcasts, Google Play. Yep, us too. So, cool. YouTube, I think Davenport's the only one that's got YouTube figured out.
He's got a ton of followers.
I think he's got 200,000 people on his YouTube channel.
That's truly amazing.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you'll see him. I think you'll see him ultimately go to that full time because he's making some stacks now with that, and those ad dollars get pretty big. But at any rate, I want to talk about reciprocation in terms of social media. There are shows that I watch, that Anthony watches, that some of you that are on this show are going to be listening to this, that you watch. Some of you share them. Some of you, I don't know, this thing's gotten, 50, 60 shares already or whatever. It'll end up a ton. Like I said, within a week it'll be 6,000 views, whatever it is. I had, on the way up here today, I had Brian Stroka, our director of marketing, make sure that he shared on our page, on Automax Recruiting, David Villa's show, Auto Dealer Live, which was on yesterday. We're not an advertiser of Auto Dealer Live. None of our people were guests on Auto Dealer Live. Yes, I know David. Yes, we were at his last conference, Culture Matters. Here's my point. It's good content. We are not in competition, ladies and gentlemen, in the podcast world or the Facebook Live world. We're in this together. Rising tides raise all ships. So if we have a show, the Recruiter Podcast, and if we put out, and we are, in fact, the only long-form podcast that there is out there in the automotive space. Everyone else is half hour or an hour. Sometimes your show goes a little longer, Anthony. Sometimes the one you had with Delgado was an hour and a half. It was funny, man. He said, "Yeah, she's only giving me a half hour," and it was like an hour. It was like 90 minutes. Wasn't
Well,
it?
I was a little fortunate because Bella's dance class had gotten canceled because it snowed in Colorado. So I was a little bit, a little bit fortunate when it came to that. Frank Crenetti's show was the one that went like super long.
Yeah. Right. My point is that most.
But it was if the content's there, I'm going to keep rolling with it.
Right. Most shows are 60 minutes. So ours is long form, goes for 3-4 hours. My point is this, that there's not competition. Automotive world, Google it. There are 750,000 podcasts in the U.S. alone. 750,000.
It's truly remarkable.
If you don't have a podcast, I strongly recommend that you get one. All Systems Go, the studio that we're in, and these guys here at All Systems Go AV and Ben Salem are awesome. The equipment that they have and that I've purchased is literally top notch. It is the best that there is. There is no better. We have the identical headsets, mic arms, microphones that Joe Rogan, the top podcaster in the world, uses. So it's a 3-camera setup. It's all. There's a producer. You come in here, these guys are. If you're in the Philadelphia area, just call All Systems Go AV. Talk to Adam, Dave, Chris, one of the guys, and start a podcast. Crenetti should do his own podcast. It's how far is he from here? How far is he?
He lives 2 miles from where I live. So
which is
50 minutes.
50 minutes. It takes me an hour to get up here, or whatever it is. Except today was a little wacky. But he should do a podcast. Crenetti should do a podcast out of here. He really should. It would crush his business would go even. It would be nuts. But do a podcast. It's important. Everybody has a voice. Everybody has something to say. So, and Mike, I'm committing to you to this right now in front of what will ultimately be 6,000 people. Either you can do it either two ways. I think you liked our Automax recruiting page, not Automax recruiting and training. The Automax recruiting page. If you haven't, go ahead and do that. And you can share your podcast on there, or remind me, and I'll share your show on that channel. And we're sharing Auto Dealer Live. There are other shows out there that I watch. I'd like to think that we're acquaintances. I'd like to think, in some cases, we're friends. I don't see the love. I don't see the reciprocal love. I see people looking for money. I've been asked to spend money to support certain things, and that's great, and maybe I will, because there's something in it for me. There's some ROI from spending the money. But money aside, how about a little reciprocation? How about if I talk about a podcast or a show, how about you do the same? But it's not going to hurt you. It's not going to cost you viewers. It might add valuable information to the viewers that you already have. There's tremendous podcasts out there, tremendous, that are automotive related. And at some point, maybe next week, I'll talk about it a little further and go ahead and actually name names. But I'd like to see reciprocation. If I'm expected to or asked to invest in something, which is not a bad thing. I got zero issue with anybody asking me to spend money. If there's ROI in it for me, that business is business. I get it. But business aside, if I believe in your product, if I believe in your show, if I believe in your podcast, if I believe in your message, if I believe in your content and find it valuable, to myself, why wouldn't I share it to my quote-unquote tribe, to the 5,000 or 6,000 people we have in Automax recruiting? Why wouldn't I do that? Why? Because wouldn't it be a benefit to those people that like our page or that follow me on social media? Wouldn't that make sense, or follow you?
It does, and I think this is the big issue. There's two issues. One, you don't put forth the time toward people, and yet we're in the people industry. I wrote an article about this a week ago on Facebook about relationships are the most important thing to me.
Right.
Personal, professional, whatever it may be. That's what I live for.
Yeah.
You got to be able to put forth the time toward that. And here's the other side of it too. The pie's big enough for all of us vendors.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
huge.
It absolutely is.
It's never ending.
You know, so it's okay to support people.
Right.
I've had Anthony Alagona on my show before.
Right.
He does BDC training.
Right.
Well, we just talked about it.
Right.
I do it as well. Okay.
Right.
I still supported him.
Right.
I've had Velko on the show before.
Right.
Velko does recruiting and training for dealerships.
Right.
He's been on here. I've sat
Yeah.
right here with him.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's okay.
Right.
It's okay because you support because you care.
Right.
And here's the other side of it too: Facebook Nation, you know, Twitter Nation, wherever it's at, SoundCloud, YouTube,
Right.
wherever it may be, is this. Oh, how can I properly say this? Take the time to sit there and like, comment, and support people that don't make you money.
That's right, man. That's exactly right. That's exactly what I'm saying, Anthony.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Rising tides raise all ships.
Right.
There's zero competition out here, boys and girls. Let's help each other, provide valuable content, and share it amongst each other. I mean, if not, in my opinion, you're doing your audience a disservice. Now, in full transparency, let me say this, that you got to walk like you talk. So there are shows that when I get home, or Brian, if you would, well, I'll catch up with you on the car on the way home. There are shows that I am going to I'm going to go ahead and share them to the Automax recruiting page. Other than we already do with David Villanova Dealer Live, and I promised Mike that I do it with his show. But I mean, there's a crap. I mean, we do obviously we do
Katie's
it
show.
Anthony's show.
Katie's.
Yeah, Transformation of the Core.
Transformation of the
right?
Core, yeah.
Yeah. I got Katie's great. She's been on this podcast and going to be on it again. But there's zero reason for me as a business owner not to share valuable content to our potential customers and or fans, tribe, whatever you want to call them. It makes zero sense not to do that. The only thing that I would ask, and I'm going to do that, the only thing that I would ask is you reciprocate in turn. It only makes sense.
Well, sharing is caring,
Right.
you know, and it's just,
Right.
I mean, it's just, but do it for the right reasons. Again, Augmentino, do it with no thought
Of
of
anything
any
in return.
reward.
Right.
So just do that because you care, because you
Right.
support the person.
Right. And I want our tribe to have as much valuable content as they possibly can to help further their careers, whatever
Right.
it is, in or out of the business.
And that's what it's about.
Right.
And you support, you know, Danelle Delgado, my friend Danelle. I just
Right.
invested money out of my pocket. I'm going to be doing online training with herself and Todd Stottlemyre, former Major League pitcher Todd Stottlemyre. You know, I'm going to do that, and then we're going to complete the training in her home in Colorado.
Name
so-
dropper.
Yeah, I'm name dropper. You know, but I'm giving shout outs to them. Neither of them have sold a car before. Neither of them will sell a car before.
Where's my dog?
But right here. Dixie's right here.
Okay.
You know, so but it's like the training's valuable. I know I can be a better person out of it, and then I can take that information and be able to relay it into being a better trainer to give back to the people that I train. That's what's key about it. You know, but I sit there and I paid money for that.
Right.
You know, so you sit there and you invest a little bit, take the time with that. You know, but you don't just do it to try to get something back.
Right.
I'm not doing it because Danelle was on my show 3 weeks ago.
Right.
I'm doing it because I see the value of that.
Right.
You know, that's what you want to do to be able to do that. And you share and you care,
Right.
and do that, and you help people. With
Speaking of that, we should share Delgado's show. What is it? Friday Night Live or whatever
Yep,
she calls it, right?
FNL at 10 p.m.
Right.
Eastern time tonight.
Right.
That it's on.
Right.
I have missed, I want to say maybe 15 episodes over the last 3 years.
You should
of her
probably
show.
tag her in this because I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there, Miss Delgado, that she has verbally committed to being in studio on the podcast. That woman has as busy a life as two people, maybe more. but she is verbally committed to sometime in the very near future be on the show, depending on her schedule, which is insane. But
It is. I mean, she just went through 9 straight days of speaking in multiple different
that's what
states
she
that
told
she
me.
did, and then she was home for a few days with Bella, Seth, and Sophie, and did multiple lives this week, which is awesome, including one with Bella, Seth, and Sophie, which is awesome. She's in Mexico right now doing training.
Yeah.
For a what they call it, a retreat training that she's doing, which is really neat. So it's just. But you know what? Danelle always gives me her time. She gets back to me, and she does, and it's appreciated.
Yep.
And that's why I talk about her in training. I watch her show. I support it. I share it. It's important to be able to do that to give back.
It is.
And I've never had a referral from her. She's never given me a campaign. I'm not expecting anything in return.
Right.
I just feel like I'm a better person by learning from her, and I want to everyone know about her so everyone else can learn as well.
Yep.
That's the only motivation.
That's my point. So, folks, those of you that end up stumbling into this podcast, help each other. Like Michelle McLean's really picked up on this, so I know she likes this. So, but rising tides do raise all ships. Think about that. Rising tides raise all the ships. So there's no competition. Get that out of your heads. Share content that you feel that your audience, it's going to benefit your audience. That's what it's all about. It's not all about me, for sure. It's about the guests that I bring on. It's about the content that we provide, whether it be on our YouTube channel or our Facebook channel or on, on LinkedIn or whatever the case might be. It's about providing those people that have trusted us to some degree to provide them with the very best content that we can to help their future, their careers in and out of business or their personal lives. So listen, let's wrap this thing up. How can people get a hold of you, Mr. Santangelo?
Of me?
Yeah. How can they get a hold of you?
Well, I've said it before, and I've cracked Matt up, I guess, the whole time saying it, but I'm just
Ring, ding, or ping.
Ring, ping, or ding. Actually, the way I say it is I'm a ding, ping, or ring away is how I would say it. 267-784-9752. My voicemail box is never full.
All right, put that in the stream if you would too. Put your number in there.
Put my phone number in there?
Yeah, why not? And how else? How can people else? You just gave your phone number. Why wouldn't you put
Facebook
it in?
Messenger, LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm at Poker Car Guy.
At Poker Car Guy on Twitter.
Facebook. Obviously my name. LinkedIn, my name.
You don't have. You're maxed out on friends on Facebook, are you?
No,
not,
I keep it just under the 5,000. So
Okay.
you always can friend request me, and I do that on a daily basis.
Right.
I have
What's your page on Facebook?
my business page, which is actually run by Michelle McLean. I pay her every month. She does a fantastic job, and she's a very dear friend. What is under Anthony Santangelo,
Okay.
so it's under both. So the difference is the picture of me in sunglasses with an Automax hat is my personal page.
Right.
The one where I'm in a pink shirt with no tie is my business page. Is the best way to make.
Do you have a black and white Automax hat?
I do.
You do? One of those you have?
I do.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Oh, wait, one of the new ones?
Yeah. You don't have one
Yeah,
of
you
those,
gave
do
me
you?
one last time. I think I was here, right? Was it?
I don't know. I forget. You have an Automax Excellent hat. I know that. Take one.
I can't remember now.
Yeah. Just
I have one.
There's two there, man. I said one. Don't take two.
I have one sitting. I have one sitting in my home house hotel. It sits there with a cell. But yeah, so it's.
All right. So,
Oh, my
yeah,
goodness.
and if you want, you can reach Anthony, obviously, through the Automax offices. You want to book him for a campaign, what have you, and that's 800-878-5090 or automaxrecruiting.com, or we're literally everywhere. We're actually going to get on TikTok here maybe this weekend or next week for sure.
Yeah,
So
let's do that.
yeah, I guess. You need to get on Instagram,
I
dude.
do.
Yeah, it's a struggle, but it's kind of cool. One of the things, Dixie, I know we're going home, honey. One of the things that's cool for me is what I do is I post on LinkedIn, then use all the hashtags, and then what I do is I take that and and I copy and paste it right to Instagram. So all the hashtags are already loaded in there, and then Instagram loads immediately then to Twitter and to our Facebook page, to Automax Recruiting.
Yep.
So like literally within 2 minutes, I'm connecting with how many connections we have between the 50,000 between those 4 groups. So it's like bang, 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 like pretty quick. So at any rate, those of you out there, thank you so much for supporting the show. We appreciate you. As I've said several times on this show, rising tides raise all ships. We love you. We respect you. We wish the very best for all of you. Thanks for listening. Share this thing out. Tell a friend. They might like it.
It's always good to see you, buddy.
My pleasure, pal.
Yeah.